Are we robbing banks here or what?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a special edition of Backstop Banter. As you can see, joined by a bunch of lovely guests and Michael, I should say, as he's rocking the Backstop Banter mask I see over there. So make sure, we'll get into that. We will get into that for sure. But of course, before we kick it off, you know who I am. You know who Michael is. But, we'll go around the horn, introduce everybody. So, we'll start it off with Jesse because, like I said, you know who me and Michael are. By now, I hope, at least.
I would hope you'd know who I am by now as well. So most of you know me, Jesse Clark at jcrockett24 over on Twitter and most social media. I will be kind of just a little tease here. I will be promoting my brand new fantasy baseball podcast this weekend sometime, and then hope to have a couple podcast episodes next week, one early in the week and then probably going live on opening day. Actually, I decided I was going to take off the day of work, kind of make a day of it, create a nice little celebration for myself. So hope you guys can join me in looking out for that promo on Twitter. And that being said, I'm looking forward to getting going here. So I'll move on to Matt. Matt, go ahead and plug your stuff.
Yeah, as many of you guys know, I'm Matt Skura. Twitter handle is down below. Make sure you follow that. Instagram at Matt_Skura19. I'm excited to be on Backstop Banner, obviously repping the World Series champion Dodgers, as many of you guys may know. And a little teaser, but me and my great friend Caleb Conant, we have a podcast called MCS Real Sports Podcast. We talk all things sports related, so make sure you guys check that out. And I am excited to talk all things baseball related because, as we all know, baseball season is next week, and I'm looking forward to defend the World Series championship this year.
Garrett from Iowa. Looking forward to talking baseball talk here with the guys. If you want to check me out on Twitter and TikTok, it's at Garrett from Iowa, and check out the People's XFL show where we talk all things football on Wednesday nights, 9 Eastern, 8 Central.
Hey, what's up, guys? Manny Brown here, host of Any Given Sunday, host of a new baseball podcast called I Love Baseball. I forgot to put my Twitter handle on the name there, but at the Manuel Brown is where you can find me on Twitter.
Yes, sir. We're going to get into everything, of course, but before we do that, I think everybody knows what we like to do around here. As I kind of forgot to bring it up. I'm not going to lie, but I like to pay the bills around here, okay? Because we got to keep the sponsors happy. Got to keep Thank you, Michael. I was trying to what's the word I'm looking for here? Stall. I was trying to stall.
I got you, man.
That's what co-hosts are for. What a guy. But paying the bills, of course, if you are into the betting world, which we were talking about before, we will probably get into a little bit later as well. Make sure you head over to mybookie.ag and use code USN100 to double your first deposit up to $1,000. Make sure you head over there. I mean, baseball is right around the corner. You can bet future bets there, win totals, everything like that. Obviously, the NBA is on right now. We still got a little bit to go in March Madness. The NHL, there's fights every week. So if you want to bet, make sure you go over to mybookie.ag and use our code USN100. And actually, this month, if you use our code and screenshot it, you entered into our David Montgomery signed jersey giveaway. So make sure you check that out as well. Next up, we have RX Hemp. RX Hemp-USN saves you 10% on your entire order. So if you're a little, just sore from the everyday struggles of life, make sure you go and check out RX Hemp. They have the hot and cold creams, as Michael's probably sore from lifting hay or something in the middle of the country nowhere.
Yes.
Make sure you go and check that out. Excuse me. Make sure you go check that out. You'll feel brand new in the morning. Next up, we have the Teespring store, teespring.com/store/unwrap. Go check out the merch for the Unwrapped Sports Network. Also, if there's a show on the live lineup, we also probably have merch for it. And a little special announcement for the show. If you want to go buy some Backstop Banter merch, we got an exclusive code for you. 10% off is code Dugout, and 25% off is code Home Run. It depends on how much money you spend, depending on what code you can use. But make sure you go and check that out. I know some members of the Unwrapped fam have supported us today. Shout out Jesse.
Thank you.
And actually my brother. So shout out the bro. for
The
once.
better gone over.
That's just simply not true. But yeah,
and
make sure
just going to add a little bit to that if you don't care. The 25%
I
off
care.
if you use the promo code Home Run. There is an X amount that you have to spend to meet the quota on that. So that's why we've got 2 running around right now. If you just want to make like 1 or 2 purchases, you'll probably have to use the dugout and get the 10% off. But if you're making a big purchase, I want to say it's $45 or $50. I think then you can use the promo code Home Run and get the 25% off.
Yes, sir. CJ, heavy hitters on the panel tonight. So we appreciate that. And of course, if you notice, CJ's over on the YouTube side. So if you want to go check out the YouTube, make sure you go check it out. Unwrap Sports, I believe it is on YouTube. Go hit the subscribe button. We funnel all of our podcast episodes through that. So make sure you go and check that out. But last up for these sponsors, of course, not least, is our Patreon. $1, you are kind of just supporting the team, letting us know you like what we do. $5 a month, you get entered into a gift card giveaway. You also get 10% off the store that we were just plugging and talking so gracefully about. And you get access to our Discord chat where, you're kind of like an honorary member of the Unwrapped family. And then the final tier, the $10 here, you get everything I just said, except a 10% discount goes to $20. And you got entered into that signed jersey giveaway. This month is David Montgomery. All right. See, I said Jordan Montgomery on Tuesday, so I keep messing it up in my head. Jordan Montgomery, pitcher for my New York Yankees. But David Montgomery is this month's signed jersey. Last month,
first time I said Ty Montgomery. So
yeah, it's a struggle. There's a lot of things to remember. Okay.
Yes.
So make sure everybody goes and checks that out. We're doing different signed memorabilia each month. Authenticated and everything like that. So make sure you go and check that out. But that'll do it for the sponsors. Now,
I got one thing to add. So actually for the month of March, just so many know, you mentioned the Patreon, you mentioned MyBookie. If you deposit any amount of money on MyBookie, we are actually giving you a free entry into 1 month's worth of the Patreon. And you will be included in that as well. And we will give you basically have a free entry into the David Montgomery jersey sweepstakes as well. So,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Make sure you go and check out the Patreon. Check out MyBookie. Check out all the sponsors. Make us some money, people. Okay. I'm just going to be honest. Make us some money. Why not?
Yes.
But let's get into
we all love doing this. We do it for fun. It is AKA a hobby. We don't make money off of this. But doing these different things help support us where we can actually pay literally our bills. So please help us out on that.
Yes, sir. Now let's get into the reason why everybody is truly here, the baseball talk. Obviously, it kicks off, I don't want to say kick off because it reminds me of football, but I don't know what other word to say it. So it kicks off next Thursday. There's a great slate of games for opening day. The MLB, for all the stuff that we say negative about it and its marketing, actually did a very good job on opening day. But before we get to that, let's go to some of the off-season moves. Get everybody's reactions from it, of course. Now, I could sit here and go through each individual one, but I want to hear everybody's opinion. I'll just name some off. We got the Bauer to the Dodgers, Lindor and Carrasco went to the Mets. DJ LeMahieu signed back with my New York Yankees. Nolan Arenado ended up getting traded to the Cardinals. But Michael, out of all of these, if you're picking one, which one tickles your fancy?
Which one tickles my fancy?
Yeah, I'm trying to be like 1800s like you do.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I mean the one that definitely wets the whistle, I think, is probably the Mets trade with what they did there. They really turned something out of nothing into something with the trades. And even Manny, we kind of talked about yesterday on his pod, I Love Baseball, which I really enjoyed, just how much the Mets have been relevant in a matter of no time. It's always New York is either a Knicks team or a Yankees team. So now it's also turning into a Brooklyn team, and now it's also a Mets team. So they're being relevant. I don't think it's going to be fantastic this year. So I've even said it on numerous times here that I think it's 2-3 years away. So I'm just more excited that the Mets have not only made this trade getting Lindor, but also the different things that they're doing as well. Social media, Cohen bringing back the black jerseys he's talking about. I mean, it's been fun all of baseball. I would say every trade and every re-sign in the major league that happened this year, everything the Mets did made everyone exciting, not just their team. So that's why I'm really happy about those.
There we'll go to Jesse. We'll just go in a nice little circle, people.
Yeah, I think the most impactful, I think, was probably the Mets trade, just because they got two guys in the deal, and they have a chance now. They're actually talking about bringing Lindor back for an extension already before the season even starts, so that could be positive news. Obviously, Cookie's kind of down with an injury already as well, so that's a little bit unfortunate for them. But just as far as an impact goes, I would say probably the Mets, and then the biggest ripoff trade of the offseason was Nolan Arenado to the Cardinals. I mean, they basically gave up none of their top prospects and landed one of the best third basemen in the game. So I don't know what the hell the Rockies are doing, but I guess we can probably move on to Matt, so I don't get too pissed off this early.
Yeah, we definitely don't want that. One move that I'm going to highlight is Trevor Bauer to the Dodgers.
Is anybody surprised?
No, he's a homer. We know this.
Yeah, being from a homer side perspective, I love your guys' points on Lindor and Carrasco to the Mets. I think that was huge for the Mets on helping them trying to overtake the Braves in the division. But I like to say Bauer to the Dodgers. The reason why I like to highlight the Bauer to the Dodgers is it's another aggressive move that they finally made. Why the Dodgers won the World Series last year was they were finally aggressive. They went after Mookie Betts, gave him an extension. What happens? They won the World Series. And now this offseason, did they have to go after Trevor Bauer? No. We had a perfectly fine pitching staff. But does it put your team over the top if you could get a Cy Young winner? Absolutely. And that's what aggressive teams do to try and eclipse more than one World Series. So I feel like the Dodgers getting Bauer is huge. It helps improve their pitching staff. I mean, you look at Kershaw, Buehler. Now you could throw in Bauer at 3, Price 4, and then your 5 or 6, you could go Urias, Gonsolin, or May. So I'm going with Bauer just because, 1, it helps improve the pitching staff as a whole, and 2, this man's a reigning Cy Young Award winner, and you just added that to one of the best rotations in the National League.
Now, Matt, does this hurt your feelings a little bit that 2020 doesn't count?
Well, I mean, it does count because everybody played the same amount of games. Everybody had the same amount of chances. It's not my fault that Fantasy Sven, whatever team he's had, he's got a bum-ass team that he supports.
He's actually a Yankees
play
fan,
the same amount.
Well,
I mean,
mostly
if you're the
everybody.
Marlins, you basically weren't allowed to play last year.
That's right.
Garrett, you're muted, by the way, buddy.
The St. Louis Cardinals did not play a 9-inning game all year. So, forget that about everybody played the same amount of games. That was absolutely ridiculous. Looking on the trade front, I kind of have different reasons for Bauer to the Dodgers is going to be interesting because he had a very, very spectacular one-off 2020 season in which he managed to steal the Cy Young from Yu Darvish. So I don't know if he's going to be as good as everybody thinks he's going to be. And then the other one with Nolan to the Cardinals, I mean, the guy was in the most hitter-friendly ballpark that exists, and he has been over 300 once in the last 4 years. So I don't think he's as big of a steal as people think he is. I don't think he's going to be near as good. He's going to be solid on the defensive side. That doesn't change. But getting out of the Rockies ballpark, that's going to hurt your batting average. I don't care who you are.
Unless
you're not going above 300 in Colorado. Or what are you going to be, like a 250 hitter in St. Louis? Just thoughts.
Hey, keeping it spicy already, huh? I think the most impactful move of the offseason was Bauer to the Dodgers. The only reason I say that is because it's the ultimate boomer bust, move, right? If it works out, it's a tremendous aggressive move. Everything Matt said is spot on. If it works out, obviously. If it doesn't, then it could be a potential detriment to them, obviously. All right, paying a $40 million pitcher who implodes on himself has the potential to be a problem. But I don't think he will. I think he's going to be good in a Dodger uniform. He's from LA. He's not going to have that pressure that he would have had coming to New York of having to live up to that contract. I think slotting in behind Buehler, behind Kershaw, I think it's the perfect situation for him. And I think it's honestly the most impactful move of the offseason. I would say Lindor probably second, but I mean, if you have the opportunity to go out and get a Cy Young caliber, whatever you may think of his, 2020 season or whatnot, you have an opportunity to get a caliber pitcher of that caliber, then it definitely takes your team. For a team that actually won a World Series, and you add him to your rotation, and you're talking about him potentially being your third starter, yeah, that's an ultimate impactful move there. So I think Bauer to the Dodgers was probably the most impactful move of the offseason.
Well, nobody said it, so I guess you're kind of just leaving it for me on the tee here. I'm,
So you're going to be a
it might
homer.
not. Yeah, I am, because listen, I figure we might as well mention everything. Give me DJ back to my New York Yankees, the MVP of the team the last 2 years, in my opinion. And Michael, you might not even disagree with me on this one, because we talked about it a little bit. I think he got robbed out of some MVP votes last season.
I agree.
I think he batted like 364.
But I got to ask you this. If he is the two-time MVP of the Yankees team, then that must mean that Judge is not top 5.
No, it's just simply not true. It's because he's been hurt. So he hasn't had the potential to be top 5. But
the best ability is availability, my friend. The best ability.
Well, he's going to be available this year. It's fine. Everything's going to be okay.
Let's hope.
But
under 40 games played for Judge.
Over, no brainer.
40?
I would say over. It's 162 this year, right?
Kudos to everyone that took that as a serious question. That was a shot at Connie.
I would hope he plays 40 games.
Listen, DJ, one of the best defensive second basemen in the league, multiple-time Gold Glove winner, led the league in batting average last season, gets everything, moving in the right direction to start off the game. Nothing like a nice DJ LeMahieu opposite field, straight up the middle, single to start off the game with, top 5 player Aaron Judge sitting right behind him to hit a 2-run home run, followed up by, Aaron Hicks, followed up by Giancarlo Stanton. But, I'm getting ahead of myself here. But yeah, DJ coming back, I think it was really important because it's he's not getting it. Well, he is almost the glue, but in a way, it kind of keeps. I mean, yeah, I guess I will go with the glue because it keeps everything together. Because now, if you lose him, you're probably looking at moving Glaber back to second base, where he is better defensively. But I still like him at short. It's fine. And then you have to go out and look for another shortstop. And of course, they obviously lost out on Lindor, who they were rumored to try to trade for. Would they have wanted to get back Didi Gregorius and get back the 07 to 19 run? But I really liked DJ coming back, and he signed for a lot less than a lot of people thought he was going to get. I mean, when the offseason started, I think people were talking about 20 to 25 million a year. I think they got him at like 16. So if that's not a steal, I don't know what is. I think I rank Lindor second. I think he's probably a top 3 shortstop in the league, and then Carrasco can be your 4th pitcher behind. Actually, no, yeah, 4th pitcher behind Stroman, Syndergaard when he comes back, and obviously Jacob deGrom. I'm not as big of a fan as the Bauer thing to the Dodgers. I don't know. He had like a good year and a half because obviously last season wasn't all there. And last season, he only had to play the Central, who, as Michael knows, is not very good because, I think all of the teams that he played basically were all in the lower, like 25 in averages and offensive production. So, let's pump the brakes on Bauer
now.
I don't think so.
I will say this. I think Bauer, and it could be me hating on the Dodgers. Sorry, Matt, just a tad bit here. If Bauer would have went to any other team, I think that would probably been the bigger news. Like, okay, Bauer's went to this team to put them over the hump. They're going to be competing now. But since he went to the Dodgers, it's almost like a Kevin Durant move in a way. Like, okay, the best team got better, woo, big whoop. But I almost feel like the more pressure. I know Manny said he doesn't have as much pressure. I agree because he's pitching 3rd or 4th in that. Well, probably 3rd. But at the same time, if you're going to spend that money, he's got to be productive. Like if he's not in the Cy Young talk this year, did they overspend for him? Now I know me and
$40 million. You better damn well be in the Cy Young conversation.
Agree, 100% agree. But also we know that Bauer brings so much more to the table than just pitching. His style, his analytics, his everything that he does. That's what's going to be so wonderful having him on any team. So, I mean, not only do they get better by getting him, their pitchers are like I think Buehler, I think he's going to have a great year just because he's got Bauer on his side in his locker room. So I wish he would have went somewhere else. I would have loved for him to went to the Angels to finally get our Trout into the playoffs, which we're all dying to see. But I settle, so oh well. That's why we went with Lindor to the Mets. I'm an underdog at heart, man.
Oh, I mean, you must be being a Reds fan, so it's
sir.
Man,
And a Kentucky basketball team this year.
fine. Yeah, because Kentucky's usually that big old underdog, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I'm sure. All right, but we can move it on from the offseason into some rule changes, not really a rule change, but something that they're not carrying over from the previous season. And I don't know how everybody feels about it. I know how me and Michael feel because we have strongly talked about this. But there's no DH in the NL this season. I'm seeing a lot of shaking of the head, so I'm hoping that we're all going to agree on this one. Manny, tell me why it's a terrible decision.
Terrible decision, man. It's a typical Rob Manfred move, right? 2 steps forward, 8 steps back. I think you finally had a consensus last year. I think even baseball purists was like, you know what? It's time. It's time for both leagues to have the DH. I've never been anti the DH. I've always been, I think both leagues should play under the same rules. So either you have a DH in both leagues or you have the pitcher in both leagues. That's been my assessment of it all. I think there should be a DH in the National League. It just makes too much sense to me to have these pitchers bat after not basically batting for about a year and a half, maybe now at this point, is just negligent and moronic and stupid. But it is Rob Manfred again, so it is what it is. But yeah, it makes too much sense to have the DH in the National League, and I don't understand what they're doing. I mean, I get why they're doing it. It's a bargaining chip, but to me, they make these things so complicated, man. You know what? It makes too much sense. Put it in the National League. It helps a lot of teams in the National League, my Mets included. So it just makes too much sense. But of course, because it makes too much sense, they're not going to do it. At least this year.
Yeah, just ask Zach Gallen how he feels about it. I mean, the guy was practicing hitting and gets jammed on an inside pitch, and next thing you know, he's out for who knows how long.
And I know people say,
messed up his ankle.
And I know people will say, oh, well, these are paid athletes. They should be able to look. Nobody goes to a ballpark to see Zach Gallen or Dustin May or name a pitcher, right? Nobody pays money to go see pitchers bat. Nobody.
Only Bartolo Colon.
Maybe Bartolo. Okay, maybe Bartolo.
You're right. You're right.
And Shohei. That's it. A couple other ones. But the vast majority are terrible hitters. And it's time. It's time.
Maybe Rob Manfred was drunk, like when he handed over the trophy to the Dodgers. But Garrett, go ahead.
I really like what Manny said about it's time to make it universal. I'm not really a big I like pitchers batting, but pitching has gotten so specific of a skill. I mean, you get like watching Yu Darvish approach the plate in 2019 was simply painful. Like my kid in Little League has a better swing than he did. But on the other hand, you get to watch Jake Arrieta rip gap doubles. So, I mean, there's both sides to that. But bigger picture, they need to make it standard across the league. Like Jesse mentioned with the guy getting hurt in batting practice. The guy's not there to be a hitter. He's there to be a pitcher. So, bring the DH, make it universal, or get rid of him, one or the other. So level the playing field against both leagues. I really think the league is going towards where you're going to have a universal DH. It's just Manfred being an idiot, looking towards the 2021 bargaining with the players where they rebargain the collective agreement and putting another chip in his pocket at the expense of the game at this point. So.
Yeah, definitely great points made. I think it's ridiculous that they're not continuing on with the DH. I mean, you look at, like Manny said, like it was good for some of the National League teams last year. Look at the Braves. I mean, the Braves were so good as a team last year. Marcell Ozuna was phenomenal as a DH. I think he was close in the MVP running, was he not? A couple times during the season.
Yeah. He was putting up numbers.
Yeah, he was putting up great numbers as a DH in the National League, and I feel like if they would have continued it, it would have been phenomenal because you could have had the Braves sign Ozuna instead of having him play defense, which was horrible. Last time we saw him on the Cardinals, he face planted on the floor, and the ball hopped over the fence.
Eloy Sr.
Jesse?
I just think.
Oh,
I'm going to skip you. Sorry there, Jesse. Big Reds fan. Obviously, we know that how Bauer was last year, drinking not drinking the beers, but he was even with Twitter with
Cincinnati Buds.
Cincinnati Buds, where he had so many Ks that they actually made a beer in honor of him. He was walking around strutting his stuff. Can you just imagine Bauer if he had to bat last year, like come out strutting his stuff because he struck someone out and then get a bat? Like he goes from being
it's
so cool, then all of a sudden,
simple.
I look awful, and then it just kind of ruins that whole demeanor, They're there to pitch. They're not there to bat, like we just said. And last year, I was the guy that says there doesn't need to be a DH. We need the old school and keep the knowledge of what's going on, just the strategic part of it. Go on and keep it alive.
65.
Exactly. But once that I seen it, and I seen that other players got more chances to play because of the DH, the Reds really benefited having Winker batting at DH for quite a while. That really got us going hot and getting fired towards the end of the season, making a push to actually make the playoffs. So one thing is we're putting people who haven't batted, Manny said a year to year and a half, but if they've spent some time in the minor league and straight out of college as well, it could be up to 3 to 4 or 5 years that they haven't even had a bat in their hand. So we're putting someone in there to do something that they're not even paid to do, but they have to do it. And then we're also taking the bat out of other players' hands that would possibly lose their jobs because they don't have this opportunity. It was the DH, man.
Yeah, I said the same thing on Twitter the other day. Somebody said that, it's one of 11 or 9 guys on the field or whatever. And I was like, okay, so do you want like kickers throwing passes and defending plays and on football? I mean, they're with all the analytics and everything else that is going on in the pitching side of things, and they're spending so much time digging into their mechanics and when they're screwing up, making adjustments and the spin rates and everything else. They have so much going on and so much to pick apart to get better as pitchers. Yeah, they don't have time to do that stuff, and they shouldn't be spending time doing that stuff. Like Michael said, we should be giving other guys opportunities to play. It's just good for the game. It's good for fans. It's good for players. It's just good all around, and I don't really understand unless you're talking about a bargaining chip. There's literally no other reason I can come up with as to why they would have it.
Rob Manfred pulled the mean stepmom move on us. Like we got our toy for Christmas, right? But we didn't show enough emotion when we got it, so he took it back. That's what he did to us. I mean, we had the DH last season, obviously half the year. They teased us a little bit. They teased us, and then they said, you know what, never mind, you guys don't deserve it. I think everybody's right with, kind of it just being a bargaining chip. I mean, what else is really the reason? There's no way that you didn't get positive feedback from it, because I think that, a pitcher's hitting has been a thing for a long time now. And especially after last season, like we all said, is it just not more fun to watch a DH than a pitcher go up there and strike out on 3 or 4 or 5 pitches? Exactly what we have right here is Fantasy Sven says it almost a guaranteed out with the pitcher hitting. It's either a sacrifice bunt strikeout or a weak ground ball to the first base. This is what we're doing instead of having.
And even with analytics, there was hardly any bunts last year, very far and few, because the numbers show that it doesn't really help to move the guy to second base and give up an out when you could do so much more with it. So having a pitcher there, that's not going to happen. So yeah, I think we struck out on this one big time.
Oh yeah, I mean, it blows my mind. Obviously, like I said, Michael, me and you have talked about it all the time because weekly on this show. But it's a struggle. Josh, what a beautiful group of men. Josh, I hope you're sticking around in the show because we didn't do that baseball 101 class with you for no reason.
Yeah, that's take notes.
I need you in the comments making bold predictions. I need all of your baseball thoughts.
Guys, what was crazy when we had Josh on the show, his very first question he asked, not knowing anything about baseball, was, what's the backstop? I don't get the name, Backstop Banter. And I was like, wow, okay, I'm sorry, if you don't know baseball, you just don't know. It was very innocent and a wonderful question. Josh, thank you so much for coming on our rookie show.
It's like that. Oh, look at this.
Oh,
World
And-
Series 2021.
And he didn't. And
That's
he
just-
didn't learn much.
That's just because you're from that area, Josh.
Confirmed.
Clearly
could have
not
said
very
White Sox.
smart.
but he chose Cubs.
I think, listen, he probably didn't even know the White Sox existed. But, whatever. Speaking of the White Sox, we'll move on from there, and we will go into the divisions around the league, of course. We'll predict some winners. Maybe, we can lump two things in at once, division winners, maybe even some surprise teams that can compete for that division. I guess we'll kind of just go with what me and Michael did. We'll kind of go from East to West Coast, kind of like what we did for our breakdown of each individual team. So, I guess we should start with an easy one, a fairly simple one-word answer. Yankees are winning the division, right? AL East, I just need a yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Give me the Rays.
On paper, right now, I would say the Yankees, but that's why they play 162. We'll find out. I think the Yankees are probably the safest bet in that division right now. Again, today, March 25th. Obviously, we have to see the games. Some games being played. I still don't know what the Blue Jays are, so I'm a little hesitant to go all the way in with the Blue Jays. I still got to see how the pitching staff contacts up. I mean, what are the Rays, man? I mean, now we just talked about it as we went on the air. Nick Anderson suffered an injury. It's kind of hard to predict what the Rays are going to be after losing Blake Snell and losing somebody.
And Charlie Morton too.
Yeah, Charlie Morton. So right now I would say the Yankees, but can't count out the Rays, and the Blue Jays are definitely improved. And then you still have the Red Sox there, whatever that team is. 'Cause I don't know what that team is. I don't know if they're rebuilding, they're reshuffling, they're competing.
terrible.
I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what the Red Sox are doing.
So long story short, absolutely easy Yankee win. Thank you, everybody, for participating. It was a great talk. Love to hear that.
Yeah,
I'm
we can
actually
move on to
Yankees
the
by
next
default.
division.
Yankees by default.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with
Yankees
Blue
are
Jays.
Michael, no, you're not.
I am. I've been high on the Blue Jays all off season.
Listen, you got to be high on something else if you're really going Blue Jays, though.
Listen,
That pitch.
write it down.
Yeah. You gotta be high on meth like that Cubs prospect pitcher brought in.
Yo, let me tell you
You
something.
gotta have one of those.
This man had 21 pounds of
Pounds.
Jeez.
I mean, you.
Hey, don't forget the 8 pounds of oxy he had too.
We are trapping out the Cubs. Trapping out the Cubs locker room. So, congratulations to my boy. He went from MLB to behind bars, probably. So, good job. All right, but we'll move on to it. Let's go to a division that'll actually be interesting. Sticking with the East, the NL East, because now this is a division that can be very, very fun. Obviously, have the Braves won it last year, but as we all talked about, the Mets made some big moves with Carrasco and Lindor. They'll have Syndergaard coming back. Obviously, you still have the cornerstone there with Jacob deGrom. Hopefully, Pete Alonso isn't as bad as he was last year. But you also have the Nationals, who will be getting some pieces back, from injuries. I don't know if who's the
they added Josh Bell and Kyle Schwarber in the offseason.
Exactly. They added Bell and Schwarber. I don't know if their third baseman is opted out again or he's coming back, but if he is, great for them. Obviously, you still have the Phillies there who, could do some things. And then, hey, listen, I know we all like to talk bad about the Marlins, but they made the playoffs last year and other teams didn't.
And won a playoff series.
And won a playoff series. So, it's going to be a fun division, Michael. Who you going with?
I'm going with the Braves. That's my second team that I'm very high on this year, and it's easy to be high on this team. I do think that the Nats and even the Mets push a 2-3 battle there, but I just feel like the Braves are a next level better than them at this moment. I just feel like the Braves are a better team right now. Freeman's going to have a great year again, and some of the other guys are going to step up. I think it's going to be fun to watch them.
Yeah, I agree with the Braves. I think I'm in on the Braves. I am a little more down on the Nationals than other teams or other people seem to be, just because I think there's a lot of risk that is involved in that pitching staff. I think Scherzer's getting older. He's kind of battled injuries the last year or so. Strasburg, you never know what's happened. I don't know if you guys have seen the story that came out today. Steven Strasburg said he ruptured his tendon in his calf, but he's like, oh, it's fine. The doctor said that most people don't, some people don't even have it, so I should be fine. Like, I don't know how that's a thing, but apparently he's going to be okay. But, you never know with him how much he is injured almost every single year. So they have a really good pitching staff and a really good hitting core to their lineup, but there is just a lot of baked in risk that I think a lot of people aren't really predicting, and they're kind of just best case scenario projecting what the Nationals can be. So I do like the Braves a little bit better. As Matt said earlier, the addition of Charlie Morton is huge for their starting rotation. They should get Soroka back as well, probably in a couple weeks after opening day. So that pitching rotation is looking much better than it did, and we know they can hit. They have one of the best young core hitters in the game. So I just think they have an all-around pretty damn good team. Their bullpen's been boosted even a little bit as well. So all in all, I kind of like the Braves at the top of this division. But like you said, Connie, I mean, you can make a case for pretty much every single team in this division. I think the Phillies have the worst team, but I think you could probably make the case for pretty much anyone.
I like the Nationals just because I'm a Cubs fan, and Kyle Schwarber and John Lester going to the Nationals and winning the division would be the most Cubs thing ever. So, but in seriousness, all jokes aside about being a Cubs fan, Lester adds some serious depth to the rotation. He's not a number one guy anymore, kind of on the tail end of his career, but he's still dangerous. Schwarber adds some danger on the lineup. And the team was decent last year, not great, but made some good improvements on the offseason. I like them to take the division.
Yeah, I'll agree with most of you guys. I'll go with the Braves. I feel like them adding Charlie Morton is gonna enhance their team just because it's finally the veteran pitcher. What was the one thing that the Braves lacked when they choked that 3-1 lead? They lacked that veteran pitcher that could hold the fort and get the job done. Charlie Morton is the kind of player that can hold down the fort and get the job done. Look at his run when he was at that short stint with Pittsburgh. He helped them on their playoff run. When he had his short stint with the Astros and revived his career, he was a huge vital part in their 2017 World Series run.
We don't talk about that one.
Yeah, we don't talk about it either as well. He was also even a huge run when he was with the Tampa Bay Rays. He was a big part why they made the playoffs 2 straight years. 2019, he helped push the Astros to 5 games, and even helping the Rays make it to the World Series this year. Like he was great in the World Series for the Rays this year. I feel like if the Braves want to get over the hump, Charlie Morton is one of those guys where if there's a Game 7 on the line, the Braves are going to ride hard on Charlie Morton to try to get the job done. And I think he's going to be the reason why the Braves are going to get over the hump and win the National League East. Now, I do think the Mets will keep it close. I think it'll be whoever wins the season series between the Mets and the Braves. But knowing the Mets are the Mets, I trust the Braves more winning the division than the Mets. But I would say the Mets will give the Braves a good run for their money.
Yeah, I agree with everybody. I think the Braves will win this division. I think they're the most complete team, top to bottom. I think it's going to be a competitive division. I think you could potentially see 4 teams over 500 in the division easy. I think it's going to be nip and tuck all year, but I would still put the Braves at the top. I think, like I said, I think they have the most complete team. I think my Mets second. If everybody performs like the back of their baseball card numbers say they should, then I think the Mets are clearly the second best team in the division. I don't really love what the Nationals did this offseason. I know some people do. I don't really care for it. To me, they have a lot of ifs on that team. If John Lester can still pitch at an advanced age, if Max Scherzer still can stay healthy, if Steven Strasburg can stay healthy, if Josh Bell from 2 years ago, not last year, if Kyle Schwarber can stop striking out 9,000 times. If I don't like ifs when you're predicting baseball seasons. So I really don't like the Nationals. And the Phillies, I think they're I don't think on paper they're the worst team, but I think they'll end up being the worst team in this division. I don't think the Phillies did much of anything to really improve. They ran
Their
back
pitching staff is so bad.
Yeah. The pitch, the Phillies basically are running it back with the same mediocre team, that they had for 60 games. Now they're going to have for 162. I don't love their pitching outside of Wheeler and Nola. And Wheeler and Nola are good pitchers. They're number 2 pitchers on a really good team. I don't think they're aces. I just don't love what the Phillies are made of. And I think the Marlins are a sneaky good team. I think their pitching staff is legit. I think they're dangerous. I don't love their offense. I think their offense is going to struggle to score, but I think they'll be able to keep most games close because of that pitching staff. So, and I think they have a pretty decent bullpen as well. So, yeah, I think the Marlins. So if I had to pick the standings, Braves number 1, Mets 2, Marlins 3, Nationals 4, Phillies 5.
Ooh, you and Marlins 3. Well, you know what? I think everybody's boring. So I'm going to do it. I'll go with the Mets. I mean, it's not, the most outrageous pick, but I'll go with the Mets. Everybody out here had to pick the Braves.
Yeah,
I know that
New York.
Why would I be a homer?
I know that hurts your soul just saying that, right?
It did. I mean, it did. That's the thing, too. So I don't know why I would be a homer. Listen, I don't care about the Mets.
New York.
That whole stadium, I don't care. This stadium could crumble in front of my eyes right now, and I'd walk past it on my way to Yankee Stadium. So, I'm just saying. But I like what the Mets did. I mean, in a way, when Noah Syndergaard comes back, everybody in the MLB, and perfect timing today because it was actually the NBA trade deadline. Everybody looks at the MLB trade deadline to make their big move and push for that championship. They don't have to do that because Noah Syndergaard is coming back. That is your championship move. That is you trading for that star pitcher. He's coming back from Tommy John, which if you said this 30 years ago, a lot of people would be very, very scared of. Now it's kind of like spraining your elbow. It takes a year to come back, but everybody and their mother and probably their grandmother can come back from it now. And usually they come back throwing the exact same speed. I think Syndergaard's already back throwing pretty hard right now. And he can be an absolute dominant pitcher when he wants to be. So you pair that with DeGrom, who, him and Garrett Cole, 1A, 1B. And then you obviously have Syndergaard probably 2. I would throw Stroman in at the 3, 4 Carrasco when he comes back. And then you can kind of play around with your 5th starter. Obviously, you don't want to have a terrible one, but, you can play around with that. You add Lindor to a lineup with Jeff McNeil, who, bats for a very high average. Lindor brings some pop and some sparkle to the lineup. Hopefully Pete Alonso can go back to being the polar bear instead of the cub he was last year. And then, you kind of just, go with the flow there. So I have my faith. Maybe Dellin Betances can turn into the same pitcher that went to 4 straight All-Star games, but, probably not because he went from the Yankees to the Mets, so he got worse. Hopefully Familia can be pretty good, and then you gotta sort of pray that Edwin Diaz can be decent again because he was all right last season, but obviously the year before that, man, he absolutely knows the struggle. Everybody looked at it as the Edwin Diaz trade and not the Cano trade, and in a way, you should have started looking at it as the Cano trade because that's how bad Edwin Diaz was. So I'll go with the Mets. Why not?
I've got a question here, and I'm anxious to hear what y'all say, and it may not be where I'm thinking at, but all of us say Phillies are not going to be anything next year, correct?
Yeah, probably 4th.
Yeah,
would they,
for the
Crazier things have happened, but yeah, I would say probably not.
If this team by trade deadline is not anywhere in a hunt, do you think that they try to trade Bryce?
No.
I think differently. I think they should. Why would you
contract?
A team that wants to try and compete and win? Look, the Phillies aren't going anywhere unless if they improve that pitching staff. They're literally like the Angels of the National League. All good offensive players, terrible pitching. The Phillies, if we're being real here, are basically a 4th place team. We like the Braves more. We like the Mets more. And with how the baseball playoffs are, it's only 5 teams, and you got 2 of them coming out of the division. You're not going to have
6,
3. No, it's 5 because you got the division winners and then your wild card game, which is 2. Unless if
there's
this
2
year
wild card teams though, so you
have two wild card teams, and the Padres are going to be one of them. So are you going to trust the Mets or the Phillies more? You're going to trust the Mets more. If I'm the Phillies, I'd say you might as well just blow it up. You're not going to win the World Series anytime soon. So you might as well, in a way, I guess, kind of just give up and see what you can get with Bryce Harper. Granted, you gave him a lot of money, but you don't have the pitching staff. You don't have any assets to trade or a pitching staff. You should have went after Garrett Cole or Trevor Bauer the last 2 years, and you swung and missed. So I think if you're the Phillies, you know that you're a third-place team at best because you're not beating the Mets, you're not beating the Braves, and you have Bryce Harper for a long term. I think you should look for trades for Bryce Harper and see if you can get any assets. Now, if you can't get anything good in return, don't trade him. Don't pull a Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, but I think that's what your problem is going to be because you have a twofold issue here. You have a season coming off of COVID where teams are trying to not spend as much money unless obviously you are the Dodgers, the Yankees, a big market team. So that and here's the thing, Matt, you would know this best. Do the Dodgers need Bryce Harper in the outfield?
Oh, no, we're chilling on the outfield.
Okay, so they're done. They don't need him. The Red Sox is another big market team that usually will trade for somebody. They absolutely are terrible, so they're not going to trade for him. I'll tell you right now, the Yankees aren't trading for him with Hicks, and then you have right field Judge, which is where he would probably play. Left field, you have Clint Frazier, but I still don't think the Yankees would go from Clint Frazier making $5 to Bryce Harper making $40 million or whatever he's making.
Why not the Mets if they have trade assets?
The White Sox could use a guy now.
Yeah, especially with Eloy being hurt. Why not throw in Bryce Harper in the mix?
No,
that's such a big contract.
Chris Bryant and Bryce Harper are good
this is the
buds.
third year of a 13 of a. Yeah, this is
Gary, you don't even know what your own team's doing, though. We said this.
Yeah.
The pitcher has become
I don't
in the last 2 weeks.
see it.
I mean, the Cubs are trying to decide if they actually want to be contenders or pretenders. So we don't even know about them. I mean, the White Sox, a nice little throw out there from Jesse, but I mean, do they really want to dive that deep into, because that I would assume that a Bryce Harper contract gets them near the luxury tax. So, I mean, are they trying to go that high?
Nah, I don't think they're trading. I don't think the Phillies are trading Bryce. Plus, the other thing you have to remember about this too is Dombrowski just took that job, and if anything you know about Dombrowski, he's not there to rebuild. He's there to compete, and he's there to spend money. So, if anything, if this season ends up being a dumpster fire, I think Girardi might be in trouble, which is crazy to say. They might look to spend some more money next offseason, maybe, but I don't see them trading Bryce Harper. Not in year 3 of a 13-year deal. Now, you want to say in the next 2 or 3 years, if this continues to be a pointless situation, they may look to offload that contract, but not right now. I don't see it. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't understand why they didn't make a move for like a Charlie Morton or something like that this offseason. I mean, they're only a pitcher or two away from being a pretty good team. They have a pretty good offense. They have some good young guys coming up.
They started the offseason crying money, right? Crying poor, right? Like they sat there and was like, oh, we lost so much money because of the pandemic and then blah, 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 blah. So the Phillies just don't know what direction they're doing. They're going. They just don't know. They started the offseason. They were
kind of like the other Philadelphia team in town.
Yeah, right? Yeah, Phillies. I just don't like what I see from the Phillies, man. And they're just a poorly constructed team. Their outfield is not great. We already talked about their pitching staff. Yeah. Maybe Girardi can get something out of him. Girardi has done more with less than any other manager, man. So maybe Girardi can get something out of this team. But right now, on paper, ugh.
So what I'm hearing is the only way that Harper gets moved is if a team is willing to spend a lot of money. We know that. Also, if you're willing to spend a lot of money, go to teespring.com right now and order some Backstop Banter gear using promo code Home Run to get 25% off your whole purchase. Now, if you're looking not to spend a lot of money, you can use Dugout as your promo code and get 10% off of your item as well. Bam,
or just spend all of your money and use Home Run. I mean, I'm fine with that too. I'm just
there we
bigger
go.
fan of that route, honestly.
Give us your stimmy, please.
Yeah, I want all 1,400. I don't want $13.99.99. No. I need 1,400 right now. Okay.
Y'all got it.
All right. we'll move it on to the AL Central because, we had some news coming out with that today, obviously, is Eloy Jimenez. I think he's going to be out 5 to 6 months with that injury. I don't know exactly what it was. I know somebody in here, Jesse, you know exactly what it was? Was it like
he tore his pec.
Yeah. So a torn pec, I mean, I feel like that's such a weird injury. I feel like that's such a football type of thing. But obviously he's going to be out 5 to 6 months now. So that's a little bit of a hit to them. Obviously, I still think that they're the best team in that division. Obviously you still have the Twins there, but I mean, what are they each individual year? I mean, they go somewhere and choke. I mean, but they usually don't do that until the playoffs. So maybe they do still have a chance. But I still think, obviously, the Indians traded away Lindor and Carrasco. So they lost a pitcher and they lost their best player probably, unless you want to throw in Jose Ramirez there. But I'll go with Lindor. But yeah, Manny, I guess I'll start it off with you. What are you thinking of the AL Central? Who's taking this one?
I think it's another competitive division. I think I actually like the Twins in this division. I think they're the most consistent team, top to bottom. I think they have the best makeup of offense, pitching, and etc. The White Sox are good on paper, but I don't really love that pitching staff. Giolito's nice, but outside of that, Keuchel, Lance Lynn, the most overrated pitcher in Major League Baseball, in my opinion. Bruce, Rodon, Carlos Rodon or whatever. And I don't love that pitching staff. And their bullpen's pretty decent now with the Liam Hendricks addition, but, I still got to see more, especially in the middle relief side of things. La Russa, I still think he can manage, but do we know for sure? 2011 was a long time ago. So, I have
that was about 40 beers ago, too.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to manage an Uber driver, that's for sure.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave that one alone. I have my question marks on the White Sox. I still think the Indians are going to be competitive. I don't understand where everybody's kind of writing off the Indians. First of all, they got a Hall of Fame manager that can basically manage a team of broomsticks to the playoffs. So I know he can do something with this team. They still have Shane Bieber. They still have Plesac and all those guys in that rotation. And their offense, while it's not as good and it's always kind of struggles, it's still pretty decent. I think what they got from the Mets, I think a lot of people are discounting. Ahmed Rosario is still a very good player. He's just young and still hasn't put it all together, but maybe he figures it out in Cleveland. Jimenez is a good little player as well. I think he fits right into that team, and they still have Ramirez there. So I think the Indians are going to be dangerous. I still think they'll be vying for a playoff spot, and I think the Royals are going to be better than people think too. I'm not sure if they're going to be 83, 84, 85 wins good, but I can see them hovering over 500. So I think this is a very competitive division. I would take the Twins right now as my division winner. I think that this division will most likely have a wild card team coming out of it. Put me in the hot seat, I would say the White Sox, but I'm not even confident in that pick.
I like the White Sox. And Eloy hurts. I don't think it hurts as much as a lot of people seem to think it's going to. The guy was not good on defense. You're just going to move Adam Eaton from the DH into right field, and that's going to give you better defense. You're going to have a slight drop off on the offensive side, but I don't think it's going to hurt them as much as a lot of people think. Their pitching has looked really solid in spring training. And there's a lot of flack around Tony La Russa hire and the OWI that occurred shortly before they hired him. But the locker room seems to be getting behind him. So that has become less of a concern as the offseason progressed. I like them to take the division. They're up and coming. They're going to be hot. And I think this is the year, if not this year, they're going to be locked in favorites for next year.
Definitely good points there, but I got the TS winning the division. Twins need to get earn the win first in the playoffs before I call them the Twins. But I got them winning the Central.
I really just understood what you said, and I've never disliked somebody more in my life for that.
What? It's clever, is it not?
Man said the TS. They got to earn the rest. Well, you know what? Go ahead, Matt. Man's looking like Dr. Seuss out here.
All I'm saying is if Eloy doesn't get hurt, I think the White Sox win the division. But because Eloy is out for so long, 5 to 6 months, I think that'll cost them the division. But The Twins got to get the job done in the playoffs. Look, they haven't won the playoffs. What has it been, like 16, 17 years?
I think they're on a 19-game losing streak.
Yeah, a 19-game losing streak, and they're basically owned by the Yankees. I mean, the Yankees pretty much have partial ownership of the Twins, and they can't win the playoffs. The Twins, we know they're going to be in the playoffs, but can they win a game? They have to win a game, or else what more do the Twins have to do? Because Kenta Maeda was phenomenal for the Twins last year. Twins did everything right last year, but they didn't win the postseason. They literally got swept by the Astros, who were below 500. They didn't even win a single playoff game. They need to get over the hump and win a playoff game this year to be considered seriously. Because I think we could consider teams that are competitive in the AL. It's pretty much the Yankees, it's pretty much the Rays, and pretty much the Astros. Those are the three of the top teams in the American League. The Twins are underneath that. Why? Because they don't win in October. They don't win the big games. You can't consider them a powerhouse team if you don't win those games in the playoffs. I feel like this has to be the year for the Twins to where you have to win a playoff game. I don't care if you win a playoff series. Just win a playoff game. Like, please, for the state of Minnesota, just win a playoff game. Even if you get whipped by even if you get whipped by your daddies and the Yankees or by any other team, just win a playoff game just to show that you've made at least some strides. Because we look at the Twins, this is pretty much going to be the same team for almost the third straight year. Still got Cruz, you still got Donaldson, still got Kepler, got a decent pitching staff. We know you're going to be competitive in the division, but win in the playoffs. Win a playoff series, win a wild card game. Just do something, Twins. Just try and win in the playoffs for once.
Agreed.
Jesse, I think it's up to you.
Oh, okay. Man, I've had all this time to think, and I still can't make up my mind. That's how close this division is. I was definitely leaning White Sox, but this Eloy news, I think, is pretty big.
Well, Jesse, let me interrupt you real quick because you want to know what big news I have? That we're adding Dustin to the show.
Oh!
That's the big news that I have. Dustin pulling up a little fashionably late. Had some things going on, but you know what? When the man makes it, you put him on. Dustin, how are we doing?
What's poppin', dude?
You know what? We're just going over the AL Central. Jesse, I'll let you get back to it. Michael, you next. Then, we'll finish it off with Dustin because we got to hear his thoughts.
Yeah, so I think the problem with the White Sox is, Eloy is their biggest power bat that they have on their team. And they have a lot of talent around him, but they also don't have a natural left fielder. I know he's pretty awful in the field, but they don't have another guy to take his place. Adam Eaton was going to be starting in center field anyways, so he was already going to be there. They're talking about moving Andrew Vaughn, the prospect that plays first base. They're talking about moving him out to left field. So if that experiment works, sure, that could be a good addition, and they could be fine because Andrew Vaughn's a promising young bat coming in there. But and I like their pitching staff as well. I'm not as down on Lance Lynn as Manny seems to be, so I think they have a solid top three. What I worry about with the Twins is I really like their offense, but man, their pitching staff has a little room to be desired here. I mean, they have Kenta Maeda at the top and Jose Barrios, but then they have Michael Pineda. He's not super reliable. J.A. Happ, he's not super reliable. It's just like these ex-Yankees that are past their prime here.
Thank you so much for leaving to both of them, by the way. I'm so happy that we got rid of them.
And then Matt Shoemaker is rounding it out. It's like, that's why they're not going to win a playoff series is because they have two good pitchers, and then they don't have anyone else that's going to step up and be able to actually win a playoff game. None of those guys are going to be able to win a playoff game against these other teams. So
I'm just going to ask real quick, are we talking who's winning in the season or playoffs?
Oh, no, we're going division.
In the season, yeah.
So just in the season, you have to go with Twins. Now, beforehand, I was probably leaning more to White Sox, but with the injury right now, kind of like even what all Jesse says, and I'm not going to repeat it, what we all say over and over, the White Sox, I think, are the sexy team, if you will, right now, and that's probably who everyone wants to pick, and I would even pick them. But with this injury being out for 5 months, it makes it a little scary to being so close to the start too. We're less than a week away, and you just got dealt this big injury. So who's going to go where and who's going to do what? So I'm going to go with the Old Faithful and go with the Twins winning this division, in the Central this year. Playoffs is a different show. So I'm just sticking to that. Twins will win it. Maybe not even. Here's the thing. The Twins may have lost 19 in a row games, but at least they can score a run in a playoff.
Yeah, they may be Twins in the regular season, but they're TS in the playoffs.
Nah,
You said that once. I didn't get it until Connie brought it up, and then I thought it was hilarious.
One time, Matt. You get that one time.
It's just like
Yeah.
Michael. What did you say in the chat that almost made me jump off a bridge?
It's the Reds' redemption year.
Oh God, Dustin, please save me from the dad jokes. What do you think about the AL Central?
You need to quit talking about the Reds. They suck. I don't know how you keep talking about them. They suck. They're the second place in Ohio, and it is going to be what it's going to be. Cincinnati Reds does not have a redemption year. I saw that in the chat, by the way. Anyway, the AL Central, I'm an Indians fan, man. So when you talk about the Twins, I don't like it. But I'll do it. Anyway, with the White Sox, actually, I kind of studied the White Sox, and every MLB analyst that I know, I've read a bunch of articles. They love their lineup. I'm not hip to the injury that you guys actually mentioned, so it's kind of surprising me. But everybody that's kind of been analyzing their lineup actually expects them to be highly productive. Now, are they going to be
real quick to fill you in, Dustin? Eloy Jimenez is out for 6 months.
Oh, Jesus.
That's it. That's the injury we're talking about. So I thought that might be relevant information for you.
That is relevant. Actually, I was not hip to that. So when you guys start talking injuries, I did not know that. But,
are you giving an ode to Garrett with the cigarette, by the way?
Yeah, bro. I'm smoking the cigarette now. I took your.
Don't worry. I'm sure Garrett will one up you.
Oh yeah.
I took your sponsor.
I have an image to maintain, folks.
Anyway, like the White Sox, honestly, I think if the MLB would allow the hitting game to actually come forward and not absolutely have everybody, the denying of the DH and all that shit, the MLB does not want a high-scoring league. It doesn't want all that. The White Sox, I think they have a good lineup. They have a decent team. I think they have a chance. But the Twins, I hate the Twins. It's painful to say it. But they have a pretty good chance to beat them. So it's kind of weird. I'm an Indians fan, man. We lost Lindor to the freaking second-place New York team. But I'm not proud of that because the Indians don't want to pay anybody. But it's okay. I think the White Sox are going to do well. I mean, with the injury, they're not going to be sorry. But I know I don't really see them winning the division this year.
Well, you know what? Everybody's wrong because I'm going with the White Sox. I'm going to look back on this panel, and I'm going to be so happy with myself getting every single division winner right. So I'll just stick with the unanimous pick that a lot of the experts are going with too. Listen, I know Jimenez is out for those 5 to 6 months. Obviously, Jose Abreu's still there. He just won the MVP. I kind of rock with Jesse on this one. I actually don't mind Lance Lynn. I really don't. Dallas Keuchel, not the Dallas Keuchel that we remember, with the Astros, obviously, but Giolito has been fantastic, in recent years. So I like it. I think that their offense is going to be just fine, and I think that the pitching staff will be able to keep up with everybody else. But you know what? Give me the White Sox, and then let them lose to us in the playoffs. Along with the Twins.
Manny flamed Lance Lynn. Like, he didn't say, "Oh, he's always like he's the most overrated player in the league." Just shocked.
I mean, every year it's like, oh, Lance Lynn. I'm like, it's Lance Lynn. Like, when did he become Roger Clemens?
Hey, all I gotta say is Lance Lynn on the Cardinals in those playoff runs, he was pretty lethal for a little bit.
He was
getting better as
he gets last year.
Too. He's getting better, dude.
I said the
fastball
Texans.
velocity is going up, and he's like 36.
Yeah. Ranger should have traded him when he had value.
Well, that would be smart. And it's
First
the
of all,
Rangers,
first
so.
of all,
It's Texas.
I live in
so what do you
Texas.
say?
I live in Texas, and you're asking the Rangers to be smart. It's not a good question. They're
It
not
must be
very
a Texas thing. Listen. It's just a
Not very
bad
smart.
time to be a Houston fan. Okay, got the Astros cheating. I mean, you got the
Cheating
Rockets
ass.
Well,
on like a,
and
on
the
like a-
Rangers are by Dallas too. So you got them boys being a dumpster fire. It's just a Texas thing, I guess. Just
Well,
First of
must
all,
be.
I'm from Ohio, so don't combine me with all that. I just live here. It just happened.
Oh no, you're
just
now a
here.
Texan. You're a
I'm
Texan.
just
It
here.
doesn't matter.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
A truck.
I'm just here so I don't have to pay money, and I'm stealing Garrett's sponsors on my cigarette. So therefore,
Well, you
All
know
right,
what? I'm
Connie,
gonna make.
You've
I'm
led
gonna-
into every one of these, so let me lead into this.
I was
one.
gonna
Let's
say
start
I'm
with
gonna make you
AOL.
guys happy
Okay, why's that?
because I was gonna go with the next one, but I know you want to take it away, so go for it, Mikey.
All right, so we're going into the AL West here. Of course, we got the NL West as well coming
I
up
thought you were
soon.
gonna go to the Central. Never mind.
We already did them. Oh, we didn't
What
do the
about
NL.
the
We
NL?
didn't do the
we
NL.
forgot the NL
Michael,
Central.
hell?
We forgot.
We
Your
can- we
team.
can-
That is
we can-
literally the reason why I was gonna let you do it, and you messed it up.
It's okay.
Dude,
I mean,
Michael,
we all know the
Michael,
Reds
that's
gonna win it.
Michael. That's a bad look for you if you want to be the host. I think I'm gonna have to give it to Connie just because you forgot
I
the
was-
NL Central. You just skipped all the way
You
to
know
the
what?
AL
I
West.
apologize. So let's go on to the NL Central.
talked about those sorry ass Reds. We need to stop that.
I'm about to mute every one of y'all right now. Just be
They shut.
okay, guys. Now I can talk. All right. So
America
as we
forgot
move
about
into the
NL,
NL,
so don't worry about it.
that is true. That is true. I mean, that is probably legit there. But I want to hear from Jesse first about the NL Central because he's a
why.
man that's very wise.
We just had this show last week. Didn't you guys tune in? No, man, it's so tough. This is there are a lot of now that like we're actually analyzing each division. There are a lot of really close divisions this year for some reason. I didn't even realize how it was going to be this close. But the Central's just like the AL Central, just like the NL East. I mean, there are probably 3 to 4 teams on any given year that could probably win this division. The Reds actually have a pretty good team if they can stay healthy, and it's like best case scenario. But then it kind of comes back to what I mentioned with the Nationals. It's like, yeah, like we have the horses to do it, but it's got to all kind of come together, and the best case scenario kind of has to play its hand. So if I'm just being safe and I'm picking the best likelihood of who's going to win the division, I'm probably going to lean to the Brewers. I just think they're a really underrated team. I think I don't want to tease too much here, but we're going to talk about MVPs coming up here soon. I think they have a legit MVP candidate every single year in Christian Yelich, and I think he's going to have a bounce back year and carry this offense. And they have quite a few other pieces around around him that actually plays well. And they strike out a lot, which is never a good thing. So they can kind of be streaky on offense, but their pitching has improved a little bit as well. You know, they have Woodruff. They have guys like Corbin Burns made a big splash last year. He's improving. They have guys, expecting to take the leap like Lindblom and a few others. They have an elite bullpen, obviously, as we've seen the last couple of years. I just feel like they have a really good team in place. And the only thing that could change that, obviously, is if they don't start off really well, I could see them moving Hader and a few other pieces, which would obviously kind of just tear everything down. So I'm not as high on the Cardinals as most people seem to be. I know they made that big move with getting Arenado, but their pitching staff is absolutely horrendous. I mean, we've talked about some bad pitching staffs, but listen to this pitching staff. Behind Jack Flaherty, they basically have nobody. They have Adam Wainwright, 39 years old. Carlos Martinez, he's basically hurt every single year, and he's degressing quickly. Then they have Kim, the guy from Korea that came over last year. He's just okay. And then the fifth starter position is kind of up in the air. It looks like it might be John Gant right now. But, then they have Jordan Hicks coming off of injury, Alex Reyes. they have just a bunch of splash guys that seem like have high upside, but they're always injured or something tends to happen. So I just am not a huge believer in the Cardinals like a lot of other people seem to be. Their lineup isn't even that good. I mean, they have Tommy Edman isn't a great hitter. He's okay because he's versatile, but they have Goldschmidt's getting older. He's not as good as he once was. Arenado's not as good as he once was. They're both really good players. But then they just have a bunch of guys. I think Dylan Carlson's the biggest name, obviously, to look out for, the top prospect in their organization. I think he could kind of make a splash this year and take it to the next level. But they don't have a lot around that offense, and they don't have a lot around Flaherty. And I just think that's a lot of pressure to put on like 2 or 3 guys to carry the team. So I'm not as high on the Cardinals as most seem to be. I think I'm Brewers, then Reds and Cardinals kind of fighting out that 2 spot, and then Cubs, and then Pirates.
Speaking of Cubs,
gotta give a shout out to Amber, hardest worker around. So shout out Amber, thanks for tuning in. Ladies first is on before us usually, so make sure you check that out. But Garrett, I believe you were next.
Yes, Garrett. Let's hear from another Cub team in this Central.
So the odds right now to win the division are St. Louis, Milwaukee, Reds, Cubs, all at 550 or less, and then Pittsburgh at plus 8,000. So
Pittsburgh's not even a team this year.
that kind of gives you an idea of where the division is at. I want to thank you, Jesse, for tearing apart the Cardinals, because I was going to do that as well. And you're 100% right. That team is terribly overrated coming into this year. As I touched on earlier, I think Arenado, he hasn't been above 300. He's not the power hitter people are making him out to be. And his average is going to go down going into a less hitter-friendly home park. I like the Cubs to win. It's kind of been a weird offseason, but you have the guy trained by first-round unanimous Hall of Famer GM Theo Epstein at the reins, and he's quietly put together a team that is going to be threatening. You got Hendricks, Davies, Mills, Arrieta, and most likely Alzolay lead on the pitching side. None of these guys are like Cy Young contenders, but they are all very good pitchers. Adbert throws heat. Mills and Hendricks are incredibly hard to hit. Davies is hard to hit. Arrieta, he regressed a little bit in Philly, but he's still, I got faith in Arrieta. And on the offensive side, there's been a lot of talk about giving up power, but really all we gave up this offseason was Schwarber. You got Brian.
Then you replace him with
a pretty
good player in October.
Yeah,
we got Jock Peterson in there, who is a better contact hitter, who I'm kind of back and forth on that, because for the money, you could almost say that they should have paid Schwarber, being he was already there. But Peterson does have a higher contact rate, so you could argue that that's an improvement. You still got Bryant, Baez, Rizzo, and Contreras. Baez outside of last year, which I think he's going to have a bounce back year. The same with KB. Rizzo is Rizzo. You got Nico Horner, has been on a tear through spring training. And if you don't want to start him, you got David Bodie in there, who is a very solid player. Baez is easily the best defensive shortstop in baseball, just needs to bring his hitting back. I think they have put together a very dangerous team. Go ahead, Dustin.
I have a quick question about the pitching staff of the Cubs. What do you think of it?
I like it. Losing Darvish hurts. I really wish we would have kept him, just because you look at the lineup and it's a lot of high ground ball guys, not a lot of strikeout guys. So that concerns me a little bit, but you got Adbert in there, and he showed potential for greatness last year. They're bringing him up to start this year. I got a lot of faith in their scouting department and their pitching department for how they develop these pitchers. And Arrieta is going to be good, and Hendricks is always good. Davies has been tearing it up in spring training. I realize spring training has different value for different people. And I really like the roster they put together. And the other thing with the Cubs is, if they are a game or two ahead at the signing or trade deadline, they have left themselves in a position where they can make moves at that midseason break and improve their team because they didn't spend money this offseason. So they could really, if they're in a position to win the division, they can get a couple pieces at the trade deadline and make it work. Reds, I think, are probably our biggest threat in the division. I don't see St. Louis, I think, is highly overrated. Milwaukee's the Christian Yelich show, and it hasn't been that great the last couple of years. I mean, he may have a bounce back year. I'm not going to sit here and say you're 100% wrong, Jesse. That is a possibility, but it's Wrigley North up there, and I don't see that changing this year. So I like the Cubs to run away with its division, and at plus 550, that's money to be made to dive into the gambling side of things.
Definitely some interesting points there, but I'm going with the St. Louis Cardinals. There's just something about the St. Louis Cardinals late in the season, October. There's just some pixie dust that just comes up their ass, and they just decide to do well. I think that's going to come into full effect towards the end of the season. I know there's a lot of doubters about the pitching staff. Adam Wainwright is too old. Paul Goldschmidt, too old. Arenado, not the same player. Well, by the time it's late in the season or playoff time, I expect those players to make some huge impacts. And in my opinion, I just believe in the Cardinals more. I believe they're the team that I trust more. Granted, them getting Nolan Arenado, in my opinion, totally changed the whole outcome of the division. I feel like if the Cardinals don't have Arenado, it's the Brewers' division to lose. But because they're able to add a guy like a Nolan Arenado, who's the best third baseman in all of baseball, I feel like that's going to help them win the division. And I feel like when it comes towards playoff time, I feel like the Cardinals are going to be one of those sleeper teams to watch out for. I'm very high on the Cardinals. I think they'll win the Central, and I feel like if you're the Cubs and the Brewers, it's kind of what else are they going to do? Like, if you're the Brewers, what are you going to do besides Christian Yelich? Like, they don't really have, like, that next star player besides Christian Yelich. Like Garrett mentioned, it's basically the Christian Yelich show. We saw when Yelich gets hurt, the team underperforms. Look at what happened when they played the National Wildcard game. They imploded. And then you look at the Chicago Cubs. I mean, this is a team that lost to the Marlins in the playoffs. I mean, they had a lot of change. They lost Schwarber. Even though Jock Peterson, granted, he's a great player, can he translate the same success he had in LA to Chicago? That's kind of to be determined. I think, and you look at the Cubs, they lost a huge pitcher in Yu Darvish, who some people might have said might have got robbed of the Cy Young Award winner. How are they going to replace that? Yeah, they got Arrieta, but is it going to be the no-hitter Jake Arrieta, or is it going to be the Phillies Arrieta? We don't know what we're going to get with the Cubs. But what we do know with the Cardinals is they got a lot of veteran players. Been there, done that. I feel like them getting Nolan Arenado is huge for them. And I feel like that's going to be the reason why they're going to win the division and possibly be a sleeper team to make a playoff run.
All right, Dustin, let's head over to you. Let's hear your thoughts on the NL Central.
As much as I hate to agree with Garrett with that Cubs jersey because I'm an Indians fan and we had a 3-1 lead and we lost. Here's what I think about baseball. So, like, when people talk about starters and about how they're going to end up as a no-hitter or a, simplified starter as in that they're going to be average, the way I look at it, I don't need a starter to be lights out. A lot of the time, it's mostly about the relief. It's mostly about how they handle the game from the fifth to sixth inning out. And it's kind of shaky. So I have a problem with a lot of MLB teams that are newly assembled, that have a lot of young guys. And they're newly, so like you pick up free agents that are new, it takes a lot of time to figure it out. And baseball is a very experienced game. If you have a veteran, it's just easy to navigate. So, like, honestly, with the Cubs, I would not be surprised if they came up in this division and were highly successful. So, therefore, the Brewers are good, but the talent that the Cubs have, I could really see them actually probably faring pretty well. Now, when it comes to the playoffs, whole different story. I mean, when you go to the NL playoffs, you're going to run into a wall. I mean, there's probably a lot of good teams coming out there. But, I mean, in the regular season, I think the Cubs actually fare pretty well. I mean, I don't see them being trash. And I honestly see them. They could probably win that division or at least get a wild card spot. So I kind of agree with Garrett.
One quick point to Matt. You said the veteran experience going into playoffs and whatnot leads you to believe in the Cardinals. I just want to point out the last guy in the Cardinals jersey to get a World Series ring was Dexter Fowler in 2017 when he got the ring for winning it with the Cubs. So just saying the Cubs have a lot more World Series experience on their team than the Cardinals do.
Ooh. Connie, let's hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Matt. I kind of like the Cardinals. I don't know where the random Nolan Arenado hate's coming from. Like, I'm looking at his stats right now. 2019 batted 315, hit 41 home runs. The year before batted 297, hit 38. The year before that was 309, hit 37. So
yeah, but knocked 25 points off that because he's not in Coors Field.
I mean, didn't everybody say that about DJ? He batted 364 last year.
Yeah, but he went to Yankee Stadium. That's basically Coors Field light.
No.
Yeah,
Besides,
but it's all about how you perform. DJ
besides
LeMahieu's
the short
clutch.
porch, Yankee Stadium is not anything crazy. I mean, left center and center field are like 380, 410. So whatever. But yeah, I'm definitely going with the Cardinals in this one. The Cubs kind of scare me because, like we said, that losing Darvish, I don't think Schwarber really makes that big of a deal. He's kind of, been in and out of the lineup, I think, the last couple of years. And I don't know how great I really think he is. I thought he was a lot better after that World Series run than he actually was because, he kind of carried that team. It's definitely not the same Jake Arrieta that you're getting back.
Okay, so after you're done, man, I want you to keep speaking. I'm going to ask you a question after.
All right. But
I'm gonna let you finish, but
Kanye West.
I want to ask you a question.
No, go ahead, actually.
No, I want you. Well, okay. So there's actually talks that MLB is actually moving towards a rotation that is more situational, and it's not as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They might actually rest guys, start guys a little bit more, make them throw more. So I think I think that the game of baseball is going to change. Like the way they start pitchers, the way they rotate pitchers, I think it's going to evolve. So it's kind of weird.
You've seen that already with what the Rays are doing, having an opener, every few games because they only had like 2 real starters. Now they only have 1 with Glass now. But that can definitely happen. I still think that's probably a year or 2 away because I think you kind of have to prepare for that and really bulk up your bullpen. In order to do that. So I don't think it's something you can just change mid-season, but I don't know. The pitching staff definitely isn't the greatest for the Cardinals, as we kind of laid out, but Flaherty is a sneaky, well, not sneaky. I think I'll say he's a sneaky Cy Young candidate, but I think he's a very, talented pitcher. Obviously, a lot of people already know that. Like I said, I don't understand the Arenado stuff. I'm still rocking with them. Coors Field or not, I think Matt said it as well. I think he's the best third baseman in baseball. Definitely, in my opinion, the best defensive third baseman in baseball. I mean, the plays that he makes basically on a game-by-game basis are absolutely unbelievable. Chapman as well. And then, Goldschmidt definitely isn't the same player, but he's still pretty decent as well. But I don't know. I just kind of give my faith because, we talked about it before that we don't really know what the Cubs are doing yet. I don't love the Brewers as much as Jesse does. Obviously, I think that I think I have them like third. If anything, I think I like the Cubs more than the Brewers, but I don't like the Cubs as much as the Cardinals. I'm kind of in the middle, but if I had to pick one, gun to my head, as they say, I would go with the Cardinals. I think that the Arenado thing really helped them out. I mean, they gave up basically nobody for him. So, I mean, I think you can only help your lineup anyway.
Yeah, thank you for being smart, Connie. It was a smart.
I try, Matt, every day.
Let's hear the Reds, Michael. Let's hear it.
Do we need a drum roll?
Let's hear your case.
Okay, so here it goes. You all have kind of almost changed my opinion, to be honest with you. From the beginning, I've kind of been leaning towards Cardinals winning it, but the old can take a factor in this. I do think the Brewers are a very good sneaky team on this that are going under the radar. I kind of been calling them the sexy team that everyone is just like, hey, this is a good team that you could see. They added the outfielder. I wanted to say his name was Brantley last year, but I think it's Bradley. Can't remember his first name. But
Jackie Bradley Jr., yeah.
Yes, Bradley Jr., who I think
They added,
He
they
couldn't
added
hit.
Colton Wong, too, in that infield.
Jackie
So I
Bradley
feel
Jr.
like-
couldn't hit the ocean if he was swimming in it, though. Just saying. Oh, go
He's a
ahead,
good
Michael.
defender, but yeah, you're right.
but he's going to help this team. Let's come on now. I mean, it's not all Aaron
Yeah,
Judge
he'll
outfielders. Let's
he'll
be
rob a
honest.
home run. He'll rob a home run. He just
So
won't hit one.
I think he does better with this, or helps his team out better. I think this Brewers team. I listened to you guys even talk, changed my mind on this. So I'm going to say a 1A and 1B is going to be Cardinals. I'm still going to say it's the 1A, but the Brewers can be sneaky B there. So I'll say that. I do think the Reds will be third. I'm sorry, Garrett. I don't think the Cubs are there where you're saying. I feel like this is almost a sneaky rebuild for the Cubs. I mean, they lost their main guy, Theo, left. Different things that they've traded out there. I just feel like this is almost like a year where the Cubs are saying we need to see what we're going to have, but we're going to rebuild because we are 3 or 4 years away from World Series. We don't want to show that we've failed this bad. They still have the possibility of being good. Now, here's where I'm sticking with the Reds. I feel like the Reds are this sneaky team that everyone is not looking at this year, that we have the offensive weapons that if they get hot, that they can do very, very well in this small ballpark. They're designed to hit homers like constantly. This is the first time that I can say in a long time that the Reds 1 through 7 are deadly at bats that could knock one out of the park and put one in the river. We also are in the top 7 as far as pitching predictions. Now we know how that could go. So I mean, even losing Bauer from last year, we still probably have, I would say, top in the Central for his pitching lineup. We all agree with the rotation. I mean, pretty easily there. So we know in this era, it's strong pitching turns to W's. So I could see the Reds easily coming out and still winning this conference, this division. Now, if we play every game leading the game into the 7th inning, and then we have to bring in our relievers, bring in our closers, then we're screwed. Because the Reds cannot win when we bring in our relievers. Let's just be honest. Dustin did not like anything I just said. He just bounced on it. All right, goodness. He said, I've heard too much Red talk from this guy. I'm out. But that's really from my heart. From my heart, honestly, I think the Reds could be good this year. We're so far, even just last year. I know it's a short year. I think I just heard him ding. He's back. But the short year, Moose got hurt so many different times. He had COVID there for a while. He was hot, got the COVID, bounced out. Otto was hurt for a while. Senzel was hurt. I mean, everyone on the Reds team got hurt at some point last year, and we still made the playoffs. So I think a healthy year could be surprising. Now, I don't want anyone to pick us because then we fail. I feel like this is just a great year for us where we're under the radar that we could make some noise. But I'm still saying St. Louis is my 1A, Brewers is my 1B.
And real quick, just what you said about the Cubs being in sneaky rebuild mode, that is a possibility. I think that the way the division's stacking up, they're going to be good and they're going to be buyers. But since they haven't spent any money this offseason, they're in the position that if they get to the trade deadline and they're 10 games out of first, they're going to be selling. I mean,
it's kind of like the Reds as well.
I mean, that's what's going to happen. I mean, we're probably going to lose Bryant. We're probably going to lose either Baez or Contreras. You know, pieces are going to get moved one way or the other come trade deadline. I'm just looking at the division. I think we could very well be with either leading or within a game or two of the lead and be looking to buy come trade deadline. If that doesn't happen and for some reason we're 10, 15 games back at the deadline, then we're going to be selling. And that you're 100%. That was a long way of saying you're 100% correct on the sneaky rebuild thing. That's a real thing going on in Chicago right now.
Michael doesn't hear him being correct very often, so.
Oh, well, that's because you're an asshole.
This is true.
I mean, that is true.
This is true.
Sorry, Connie. That was way too easy. I had to do it.
Well, it's just facts.
1 point, Garrett.
It's okay, Michael. You have a mountain to climb to get over me anyway, so it's fine.
You know what? R. Kelly had a great song that had a line, I am a mountain.
No, R. Kelly does a lot of things, but anyway, continue.
As we move on,
1 point, Mike. 1 point to Connie. Bring out the board.
That's all right. As we move over to the AL West, Actually, let's just go ahead and start with the NL so we can get Matt and go ahead and let him talk about his spiel on here. Matt, go ahead. Let's hear your predictions for the NL West, which is going to be pretty much repetitive.
My predictions for the NL West is going to be the Dodgers winning the division again. This is a no-brainer. I don't care that the Padres made all these moves. They're still not better than the World Series champion Dodgers. Let's be real here. And, I mean, you look at the Padres. Oh, look at us. We got Yu Darvish. We got Blake Snell. Well, we got the Cy Young winner and Trevor Bauer. So, boom, mic drop. And also on top of that, we got 3 MVP caliber players on the same damn team. Betts, Bellinger, Seager. All 3 of those players are MVP candidates. Padres don't got none of that. They got Tatis and then Machado and a little bit of Hosmer, and that's about it. And if we're being real here, the Dodgers, we pretty much own the Padres. Like the Padres want to try to beat us, but they can never beat us. They hate us because they ain't us. It's that simple. And I mean, we look at the Dodgers. The Dodgers are just straight up winners if we're being honest here. I mean, granted, we choked in the playoffs a lot, but the monkey's finally off our back now. We finally got over the hump. We finally got the job done.
It wasn't a real season. You guys didn't get rid of no monkey.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. We won the World Series. If the Astros World Series counts, ours counts. All right. So, boom.
But the Astros doesn't
everybody
count.
played this. Hey, it's not our fault that Kevin Cash pulled Blake Snell after 1 hit. That's not my problem. That's the Rays'
He just couldn't
problem.
do that against the Yankees in Game 5, but whatever. I'm not mad.
Well, you got one all this Chapman who gave up 2 consecutive walk-offs.
Listen, I don't even know who that is. I've never even heard of him actually. The closer's still Rivera, right?
Well, in the good old days, but yeah. Anyways, I feel like it's a Dodgers no-brainer. Granted, the Padres, they will give us a slight run for our money. Maybe instead of us winning the division by 15 games, it'll be by 8 games instead.
I just want to say the Yankees just scored 6 runs in the top of the 9th to tie their spring training game. But go ahead.
Well, spring training doesn't count.
Training. Go ahead, Gary. Let's hear your
talking about how cute the Cubs look in spring training. I don't want to hear
it. Fun fact: on the odd sites, the mybookie.ag sign up.
USN 100, by the way.
Double first deposit.
Dodgers are -250. San Diego is +200. In third place is the Diamondbacks at +3,300. So this is a 2-team division. I think we could all agree on that. I like the Padres to be sneaky. The Dodgers, with the exception of the year that didn't count, just have a history of not being able to close stuff out. You got Darvish and Snell leading off the Padre lineup. Clevenger is on the 60-day right now, but he'll be in there too. Solid on the defensive side of the ball. Got some good bats in there with Manny Machado. I cannot say names right now. And Eric Hosmer. And obviously Tatis Jr., one of the most exciting players in baseball. I'm going to take the Padres to upset the division.
Yeah, is the pitching staff better than Kershaw, Buehler, Bauer, Price with Bellinger, Betts?
Next year it will be.
I don't think so.
Next year will be when they get Clevenger back.
Kershaw.
This is actually my favorite subject. Like when it comes to the Dodgers and the Padres, because I work with 2 Padres fans. It's actually funny. Literally, so like it's on Sports Me. If you guys haven't been involved, Sports Me is a dope app, by the way.
Yes, very fun.
The USN is on. And actually, there was a debate or a battle they put on there about the Dodgers and the Padres. So if you think that I'm going to believe the Padres are going to have some type of sneaky season and outdo the Dodgers in their first season, being assembled with new talent and all that, they're not. They're not going to do the LA Dodgers. It's not going to happen. Now, if you're going to ask me 2 to 3 years from now, if they can keep that same nucleus there, they're going to be a problem. It comes with experience. So therefore, Padres probably have a chance to outdo the Dodgers, maybe in 1 to 2 years. But this year, it's not going to happen. I'm going to say that right now. The Dodgers are going to outshine the Padres. It's going to happen. And, whether people like it or not, it's going to happen. They're more experienced. They won a World Series. The Padres are a little bit new. They spent a lot of money. It's going to take them 2 to 3 years to really get up there to win a World Series and be contenders. So LA Dodgers are going to win. This is how it's going to go.
Okay, Connie, let's go to you.
As much as I want to annoy Mr. Wise Cheese over here, we're kind of on the same wavelength today, okay? So I can appreciate it. I'll stick with the Dodgers. I really, really want to go Padres, not to annoy Matt, but for the fact that I love Tatis and everything that he does for baseball, actually, making it exciting. I mean, the dude scores on like pop-ups to the shortstop. So it's actually fun to watch him play, and it's what baseball needs. But I am still going to stick with the Dodgers. Obviously, we've laid it out. Buehler, Kershaw, Bauer, even though I think Bauer's overrated, is very, very good. David Price, as long as he doesn't face the Yankees in the playoffs, is also very, very good. So, I am still a little concerned about David Price. Obviously sat out last season, so you got to wonder how strong he comes back if he has any rust in the beginning of the season. But I mean, you have Mookie Betts, you have Cody Bellinger. They brought back Justin Turner. I mean, what's the weak spot in the team, really?
There's none.
Exactly, and as annoying as it is,
No. The only weak thing is pitching staffs in the postseason. That's about it.
Yeah, Kenley Jansen's a little shaky. He's a little shaky.
Yeah, but Trinan can just step right in. They have the pieces.
Trinan with the shaved beard. When he shaves his beard, he was close.
I also don't know why, but Matt, you're gonna have to remind me. I think it's May, that redhead pitcher.
Oh yeah, Dustin May.
Big fan.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Don't know why. Not a clue. I have no idea why I like him, but I love him, so I root for him when he pitches. But yeah, I just think that the Dodgers are going to be too good. Obviously, the Padres are going to be fantastic as well. I think that this is the easy pick for the first wild card. I don't even think it's going to be a competition for that first wild card spot. I think it's the Dodgers. I mean, like their over under for season wins like 103. I mean, that's the type of dominance we're at. I mean, that doesn't really happen. So I think it's going to be Dodgers in like the 105-8 win region, but I still think the Padres are like a 98 to 100 win team. So I don't even think that first wild card spot is really competitive. They're obviously going to make the playoffs. Darvish is fantastic. We saw it last year. Blake Snell is a dog, as I've seen a lot more of him probably than some of you guys, with him on the Rays. And then when Clevenger comes back, I don't think it's going to be this year. I think he had, the surgery a little too late in the season to come back for this year. So he'll be back next year. And when that happens, I think they definitely have the chance to overtake them. Machado will still be good. Tatis is going to continue to improve. Hosmer is still there. So I really, really like their team. It seems like that they kind of went all in. And if anything, I pray, and I think all of the baseball world should pray for a Dodgers-Padres playoff series. I don't know how it happens. I don't know what.
Absolutely. I really hope it happens.
It'd be a 3-0 sweep.
If I'm not watching my favorite team in the Reds this year, I want to watch as many of those rivalry games as I possibly can. The Padres and Dodgers all year is going to be so fun.
Hold on, whoa. Who said a 3-0 sweep?
Come on, who do you think?
Me. 3-0
Dodgers,
sweep.
Dodgers
Kid with the champs hat on.
Dodgers sweep 3-0 or 3-1.
They're not 3-0 swoop. Nah, hell.
The Dodgers haven't swept everything
can.
except the kitchen floor in years.
Hey, we swept.
They're not a 3-0 sweep. It's not going to happen. That's not.
All right, Jason, let's get on to you over.
1 second, because all I know is if I have to go into a playoff series with Darvish versus Buehler, and then Kershaw versus, and then Kershaw versus Snell, and then you
Give
go
me
down the line.
Snell will get pulled early.
Well, he's not on the Rays anymore, so they're not as
First of all,
analytical. I'm just saying that. I'm not saying they're going to lose. I'm not saying they're going to lose, but I'm saying it's going to be very entertaining.
It will be. It will be.
Kershaw played like shit for most of his playoff career until the pandemic. So therefore, Kershaw is a great regular season pitcher. In the playoffs,
and the monkey's off the back. He's got a ring.
Fucked up many times, dude. He's got a ring, okay, in a shortened season. We ain't talking about a fucking.
Yeah, but dude, I'm telling you, you have to factor in the fact that he two or three straight years he played the freaking cheating Astros. I don't care what you say, but they're not touching his breaking ball the way that they did against him if they don't know what pitch is coming. So I give him a little bit of a pass as far as that's concerned. But
I don't.
yeah,
He played like shit. most of the
He
time.
has had his bad moments. I will give you that. He's had some bad moments.
Yeah.
But
He's
it's
played
different.
like shit in the playoffs.
It's different now. It's a new era. New era of Dodger
new
dominance
era.
coming to town.
New era. No, no, no
Dodger-
new era. Dodger
Did
dominance.
Kershaw
Fuck
get
outta
new
here.
shoes or?
He just
Kershaw
built
played like
different.
shit until a shortened
What-
season. Are you kidding?
I mean, I disagree with that because I think the monkey was off his back in 2017 until the World Series, that game in Houston, where he threw like 56 curveballs and didn't get a single swing and miss. So I think the monkey was off his back since then, but it just didn't look like it at the time because we didn't know that they were cheating. But Jesse, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't want to spend too much more time on this. We got other things to get to before midnight hits. But I mean, it's the Dodgers. It's pretty easy to pick. I don't want to get too far into 2022, but if we're projecting for next year, I like the Padres a little bit better just because Clevenger's coming back and that starting rotation is going to be freaking nasty. So and their bullpen is just elite too. They don't have many weaknesses at all. Their hitting could be a little bit better. Obviously, the Dodgers' hitting is much better than the Padres, but they're one piece away from being a really good offensive team as well. Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, it's pretty easily the Dodgers. I don't know how you couldn't go with them. It's kind of like the Yankees in the East. Kind of just check the Dodgers and move on.
Just what I'm going to say on that, I think is the Dodgers. I think the Padres is a very, very sexy team in this division, but what I'm always afraid of is a lot of their wins last year came from grand slams. It's like those wow moments that they had a lot of, and that's not going to happen as much this year, I don't think. I mean, they had every opportunity to have a grand slam, and they took advantage of it. How many times is that really going to happen again this year? So I feel like oh my goodness, yes, we do. But I just feel like the Dodgers is the big brother in this right here. But again, Padres is going to be a good team, but I just don't think they're going to be able to overtake Dodgers this year for sure. So that wraps up the NL. So let's go on over to the West AL. Dustin, let's just go ahead and start with you. Hear what your thoughts are on the AL West.
The AL West.
Oh, and he left on accident.
Uh-oh.
Well,
So
you know
does that
what,
mean
Gary?
I
You
start?
do it.
Okay.
Every time you talk, Michael, he goes.
He doesn't like me.
I will start. AL West. First off, I hope the Houston Astros play with bruised ribs the entire season. Secondly, I like the Angels. They got the A's and the Astros are listed as the top two at plus 150 and plus 125. And then Angels are plus 350 to win. They got Joe Madden there. They picked up Jose Quintana this offseason. They added Dexter Fowler in right field to pair up with Mike Trout in center. Jose Iglesias at short. There's a lot of good talent around there. They got Pujols hanging around to possibly be the DH. Also, fun fact, I've been looking up depth charts as we've gone through this, and they have their pitcher listed as the DH. That's the first time I've seen that. Shohei Ohtani is listed as the DH. So I just thought that was cool. But I like the Angels to come out and make some moves this season, make a push for it. And also, I am refusing to pick favorites in case you guys haven't noticed throughout this thing.
But y'all started with me. I'm gonna be completely honest. I have no opinion about that division. None.
Okay.
Well, you know.
That's why you left.
No, I didn't leave.
The
I
AL
got
West?
kicked. I have no opinion. So y'all just go ahead. I have no opinion. So y'all just go
Well, you
ahead.
know,
Jesse, I
let's
want to
go
hear
take a-
yours
oh,
real
oh.
quick.
I
wanna hear yours.
I forget that you're,
I'm a host.
I
I am
know.
a host. And the reason, because I want to hear how you feel on the Angels.
I have no opinion.
Who are we
I-
talking
No,
to?
we're
Who are you
going
talking
Jesse.
to,
We're
Michael?
going Jesse.
Oh, is it me?
Jesse. Let's go to
sorry.
Jesse, please.
Sorry, I
Okay,
didn't hear
thank
you.
you.
I'm going with the Astros. Although I know we haven't got into our bold takes here yet, but I'll just list one of mine. The Angels have the two most talented players in baseball on their team.
My top.
I want them to succeed so bad, but they don't have enough pitching around that team. They have Trout, they have Rendon, they have Shohei Ohtani, and Bundy, kind of rounding out that rotation, but they just don't have much else around them. Just a bunch of aging veterans that probably shouldn't be starting on rosters. I really wish the Angels would have made some big splashes and spent some money in the offseason, because it would be really, really entertaining and fun to be able to watch Trout and Ohtani in a playoff series. I mean, can you imagine Ohtani pitching a game and then the next time he's, smoking a dinger over the center field wall in the same series? We would have never seen anything like that in a playoff series before. So I think the Astros are too strong. I think they'd be really, really good if they could have had Justin Verlander back this year. But it looks like Framber Valdez's injury isn't as bad as what they were predicting. They were predicting a finger injury that was going to cause surgery and have him miss the whole year. But now it seems like he's just going to be able to rehab and be back in like a month or two. So we'll see how that goes. You never know how those things linger. That could be a huge addition to their starting rotation, though, because that could have been a big loss. They just actually locked up, was it today or yesterday? They locked up Lance McCullers to a long-term deal as well. So, they have a lot of good talent. We've seen all the same suspects throughout. Their hitting lineup is still stacked. We have Yordan Alvarez actually coming back this year. We'll see if those knees can stay healthy. He's got like Greg Oden's knees. I just think they have a really good all-around team. Just another team to keep a watch out on in this division are the Mariners. Believe it or not, they have a lot of good young talent coming up. So they may not win a lot of games, but I think they're going to be a lot of fun to watch. So just another team to kind of keep an eye out on. But I think it's definitely the Astros division to be had.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you as well, Jesse. I also got the Astros winning the division. It's pretty much a no-brainer. They're the team in that division, one of the most playoff experience. They've been there, done that. Even though they cheated in the 2017 World Series, which I believe that, they've still made it to the ALCS for the last 3 consecutive years, and they almost came back from a 3-0 deficit last year against the Rays. So it's very capable that the Astros are going to do it. Granted, they did lose George Springer in the offseason to the Blue Jays, but I still think that they're still going to have a competitive team, because we look at in the rest of the AL West, we don't believe in any of the other teams. Mariners are too young. Rangers are the Rangers. The Oakland A's, we don't know what the A's are doing, and the Angels keep shitting the bed and not helping with their pitching staff. I will always to this day believe that the Angels made a mistake bringing in Rendon instead of Garrett Cole. They should have went all in on Garrett Cole to help out their pitching staff instead of Anthony Rendon. I thought the Angels would have learned their mistake from signing Josh Hamilton and Albert Pujols way back in the day, when there pretty much have been disaster signings that have not helped this team out at all in the playoffs. I mean, you look at the Angels, they have swung and missed last 2 years on dominant pitching. They had a chance to get Garrett Cole. He decides to go to the Yankees instead. They should have went all in on Trevor Bauer this year. Trevor Bauer went to LA, but he should have went to the Angels instead of the Dodgers. Now, I love Bauer on the Dodgers. I'm going to love it all day. I'm going to smother in it. But he should have went to the Angels and helped their team out. I guess in a way I'm basically saying Bauer makes a
this show is off the rails. I'm telling you.
Yeah, sorry. That was a big ass pause moment. Just
You
pretend I did
ever
not
seen
say
the
that at
SpongeBob
all.
episode where like the dude starts making out with himself, like the superhero
just
episode? Yeah, that was.
Scratch that from the tape. But basically, all I'm saying is
I'm gonna need Monique to cut that clip. That's for sure.
The Angels, if they ever want to win a division, if we ever want to see Mike Trout in the playoffs, they need to improve their pitching. I know they added Jose Quintana, but it's not a helpful cause. They should have went all in on Bauer, should have went all in on Garrett Cole. They whiffed. They didn't need Anthony Rendon. Does it help their offense? Yes, it helps their offense. But why would you get Anthony Rendon when you need when you needed pitching staff. And in fact, I'll even refer to last year. Why did the Angels decline the Ross Stripling Jock Peterson trade? That was a perfect trade for the Angels to have had. But instead, they decline it. They miss the playoffs. We win the World Series instead. So that's why I got the Astros. They're the most competent team in the division, and they know how to win. The other teams either can't get out of their own way, make dumb decisions, or they're just too young to compete.
That's where I have a problem with that division. People are asking me to root for the Astros, and they probably are the most formidable. But you're a cheating motherfucker. So therefore, I'm sorry. I cannot look at the Astros, no matter how much talent they may have, no matter how much stigma they may have around them. I cannot, with a clear mind, sit here and say that I just want the Astros to win or I believe they can. No. Hell no. I hope the Astros steal a base and they fucking trip and get slapped with the glove. So therefore, no. It's so hard for me to have an opinion because the Astros are the only team in that division that I see that can really compete, but at the same time, I want them to trip when they're running to home base and, just eat shit. So therefore, I don't know. I have no opinion. I hate the Astros. It's just very hard for me to cheer for them or pick them. So
yeah, and you can't like the Rangers because they're too much of a dumpster fire.
They fucking suck, but I love them though.
That's why you just like the Angels. That's why you like the Angels.
But I love them though because I can pay $50 to be at first base. It's fucking awesome. I can see Tatis Jr. I can literally see the stars of the league up front, and I can pay cheap. So therefore, it's great. I love the Rangers. Please.
And they got the new
mouth
ballpark with the roof.
The Reds, then. That's
The
every
Reds
season.
suck.
The Reds, $50. But
$50 gets you row 316 in the Yankee Stadium. But anyway, like I said,
Connie, if you're paying, I will join you. If you
I
wanna
absolutely will not
seat,
pay for anybody but myself. You're lucky I even pay for myself.
I will pay.
got
I
man
will.
to
I
pay
will
for you.
buy you beer. I will do all that if you want to pay for my seat at the Yankee Stadium. We will
Well,
have
I
a
mean,
good time.
actually, then it might be worth it because I think a beer there's probably like $16, so I'll buy several. Anyway, I'll go with the Angels just because I feel like it. I refuse to pick the Astros to do anything. It's my Yankee bias. They could have an all-star team, and I will still absolutely pick against the Astros. They could trot out the 1998 Yankees and Astros uniforms, and I would not root for them. So I'm going with the Angels because I want Mike Trout in the playoffs. I will sell my soul for Mike Trout I want Mike Trout to be in the playoffs more than I want the Yankees to win a World Series. I've already seen the Yankees win a World Series in 2009, so like it's off the bucket list. Like it's cool. I need Mike Trout to do something. It's killing me. It would be like having Patrick Mahomes on like the Browns for the past like 40 years. Like that's what we're doing to Mike Trout.
Don't
Did
play
you
my
see what he
emotions
said
like
the
that.
other day?
Who, Trout?
Yeah, did you see what Trout said the other day?
No, I did not.
He said just like last week or during spring training, he finally was able to work out this kink that he's had in the spring for over a year.
Like he was. I saw. I can't remember what MLB player commented underneath the post, but they were like, "So you're telling me he's supposed to get better?" And like, that's how good he is. Like, Mike Trout is the person that we're like my generation, you and everybody here is like going to go down and be like, "Yeah, I saw Mike Trout play." Like that's our player. That's this generation's, Hank Aaron, going all those great players. So I'm going Angels just because I want to see it.
I'm kind of right there with you. I think it's Astros division, but I want to see the Angels do it. As bad as I want to say this too, if the Reds start tanking midway through the season, I see us making a trade with the Angels of some sort, one of our pitchers, if it be Luis or even Sonny Gray that goes there. And then I'd have to even love them even more. So we need to see it. Baseball needs to see it bad. We want to see the Angels, and this show needs an angel in it. My goodness, it's been crazy. So we need the Angels in the World Series.
I now understood what you meant. I now understood
First of all, the Angels being the World Series is like, bro. I mean, say a prayer. I mean, it's got to be like Angels in the outfield.
It's not 2002.
So therefore,
That's what we're
It's
going
not
for,
gonna happen,
guys.
bro.
Well, listen, that's what we're going for.
Do we not want it though? I mean, we want the Angels. We want Trout to make the World Series.
You're gonna need the other fish, Tim Salmon, to come out of retirement and just fall back to 2002 for the Angels to have a shot.
Honestly,
You know what?
honestly, Michael, I wish I had the faith that you have in the Reds and the Indians because I'm highly cynical. I think the ownership is shitty as hell and they don't know how to pay people. And I just wish I had the faith in them that you do the Reds because no, they fucking suck.
Man, just think
But,
the Indians at
like
one
to be
point.
positive.
The Indians at one point
Michael said
had
I like to
Corey.
be positive.
Just think the Indians at one point had Corey Kluber, Trevor Bauer, Mike Clevenger, and probably Carrasco on the same team at one point.
Dude,
Now,
our farm system is fucking top notch. The
But
problem is
you don't pay it.
that they don't know how to pay any fucking body. The Indians
Listen,
suck.
the Marlins are in the same boat. They had Stanton, Yelich, and Ozuna on the same team. So everybody has their problems. But Michael, I don't know. You want to keep going? You want to keep going with
Go
the
ahead.
play-by-play?
You
You
got
want
it.
me to?
You got it. You got
All
it.
right,
Take on
I
over.
got it. I'm taking back over, taking the reins of the ship. All right. Well, enough with that. I want to get into some other awards going on. Cy Young and MVP winners. You know, some good prospects out there. Some many people to choose from. So, Michael, I want you to start it off. Give me, ALNL Cy Young MVP.
I'm going to go dark horses with my MVPs. One thing we even talked about before we started, Cy Young, I feel like it's just so up in the air with anyone really. But I'm going to AL. I'm really big on the Blue Jays this year, and I've said it from the beginning of the offseason with you, Connie. I'm going to go with Vlad here. The way he looks during the offseason, losing the 30 pounds, coming in more fit, I feel like he is ready to take leadership of this team, and I'm excited for him because everyone loved Big Daddy Vlad, so why not let's enjoy Junior. So he's going to be my dark horse MVP. And then I'm also going to go with Soto with Nats for the NL MVP.
You doing your Cy Young?
I'm going to wait.
You know what, Michael? I'll save you. Let's go MVPs first, and then we'll go back around the horn for the Cy Young. So, Jesse.
Okay.
So we're up with MVP, right?
Oh, yeah.
Man, Michael, you stole my thunder, man. I'm all in on Vlad this year.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
Not only has he lost all that weight, which for a lot of people doesn't mean anything because everybody kind of comes into camp saying they're in the best shape of their life. But when you lose that much weight, like he's done, and to me, it tells me that he's finally taking it serious. Like he kind of just had the ability to skate by all the minors, put up all the numbers that he wanted to. He has all the God-given ability in the world. Hell, his dad's, Vlad Guerrero Sr., obviously. So it's just one of those things. I don't think he took it that serious. And I think he finally has taken it serious. And to me, not only is that, but I'll get a little analytical with you. One of the biggest things.
You got to put your glasses on to do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of his biggest issues is he hits too many ground balls for a guy that has his type of power and hits it with his amount of hard contact that he does. And this spring, he's actually focused a lot on increasing that launch angle. You hear that term a lot, but it actually means a lot when you have the hard hit contact that he produces pretty consistently. So when you add that, changing of the swing, he's kind of changed his stance. He's more in an upright stance, so he's not using. He can kind of get to the top end of the zone. Mm-hmm. If you look at his numbers last year, he really struggled at the top of the zone. So I think I've done a lot of research on his changes this offseason. I'm really into Vlad, and I think the MVP has to come or normally comes from a guy that plays on a pretty good team, and I think the fact that the Blue Jays are going to be better this year will probably help him. And then I mentioned it earlier. I think Yelich is winning the NL MVP. I think he's going to, put up these monster numbers like he did a few years ago. He can steal, he can hit for power, he can drive in runs, he can pretty much do it all. So I'm going to go with Yelich and Vlad Jr. What do you got, Matt?
Definitely good points for my AL MVP. I got Mike Trout. I feel like that's a. Obviously it's obvious favorite. I feel like it's a no-brainer. I mean, Mike Trout's putting up monster numbers, and he said he made a few kinks to change his swing. That's MVP right there. If I haven't seen one. And then my NL MVP, I had a toss-up between a couple players. You guys have made a lot of good points about some NL MVP players. But I'm going with Mookie Betts. I feel like Mookie Betts, I feel like it's a no-brainer for me. Call it homerism, but I feel like besides Mike Trout, I feel like Mookie Betts is right there as that next best player. And I feel like Mookie Betts, if he continues what he had last year, and a lot of people forget Mookie Betts was runner-up behind Freddie Freeman for that NL MVP. And I feel like in a full 162 game season, Mookie Betts now comfortable in a Dodgers uniform second year. I feel like he's going to take off, and I feel like he's got a great chance to win NL MVP this season.
So both your picks are going to be in Los Angeles.
Yep, LA based.
Cheese stole my thunder there. I'm going to take Mike Trout and the American League. I think the Angels are going to be dangerous and win the West. And to do that, Mike Trout's going to have an MVP year. So piggybacking off of that, NL, I'm going dark horse pretty hard. I'm going to take Willie Contreras. The guy has consistently improved every single year he's played. Getting rid of Schwarber, that kind of moves him up in the lineup. He's just a very, very consistent bat and a great, great defensive catcher. I expect this to be a breakout year for Willie.
So are you, Justin?
I agree with Mike Trout, but again, honestly, I hate awards. I hate MVP awards. There's so much context. But Mike Trout, I'm always going to root for the guy. He's probably one of the best baseball players to ever step foot. So it's kind of hard for me to root against him. I actually hope Tatis steps up next year and ruins every pitcher's confidence. I swear I hope he steps up in a 3-0 count every time. And it was like, all right, cool. Send that shit, about 7 runs, 8 runs. Send that motherfucker. I hope Tatis ruins every pitcher's confidence. I hope he wins it. That dude is a beast. I have no qualm with him smacking everybody's shit. I hope he wins MVP, and I hope he just breaks out and becomes more of a superstar than he is, because I think it's going to change the game. So I'm rooting for Mike Trout, and I'm rooting for Tatis. That's how it goes.
If I wasn't going dark horse Cubs guy, just because I would have taken Tatis.
Tatis is not a bad pick, but I'm going the opposite coast of Matt.
Let's see here. Let's see here. Do you go with LeMahieu or do you go with Judge?
Oh no, I'm going with Judge, absolutely, because he's staying healthy this season, hitting probably 45 home runs and batting like 282, maybe, something around there. So obviously going to be in the thick of it. The Yankees are going to win over 100 games. He's going to be one of the main reasons. But the one that I enjoy more is the NL one, and I'm sticking in New York. And Michael, you can't get on me. No.
You're going with Lindor?
I am going Lindor.
Oh.
Michael, I've said that from the beginning, from the trade. You know that.
I'm not going to hate on it. Go ahead.
I think that he has a lot more protection in this lineup now. He'll have Pete Alonso hitting behind him. He'll have Dominic Smith hitting behind him. He'll have Jeff McNeil hitting in front of him. Probably, I would assume they bat him second. So Jeff McNeil obviously hits for the average. Lindor can do both, and then Alonso can hit for the power right behind him. So I think he's going to have a lot of protection in the lineup. I think he's going to be on a team that'll perform very, very well. Therefore, like we all said, the record definitely means something, and I think the Mets will be pretty good. So give me Francisco Lindor. I don't know. He's another player that kind of excites me. I put him in the Tatis realm of exciting players to watch. So I've always rooted for him, even though he's been an Indian and, the Yankees have had some battles with them. But, yeah, give me Francisco Lindor. But those are our MVPs. Now let's go to the Cy Youngs. Michael, I gave you some time to stall. You're still shaking your head at me, but I don't care. I need your picks. Oh, no. I need your picks.
Yeah. I mean, if I want to try to go with a dark horse, someone that's going under the radar a little bit. I hate just going with like the Garrett Coles or someone, but I guess, I mean, at the end of the day, I still have to go with Shane Bieber as far as the AL. Just give me him, I guess.
A little
And
repeat,
as far as
okay.
the NL, until he proves it. I don't think Bauer repeats. I'll say that, but I'm really excited to see how Walker Buehler does this year. I kind of liking him, and just especially with how Bauer can help out pitchers. We've seen Sonny Gray come from what he was with the Yankees to what he was with the Reds. Now, granted, some of that goes with the pitching staff that we had there because it pitched or was his coach. I'm sorry, his coach for the Reds was his Vandy coach too, so reunited there from his college years. So I think that helps as well. But I'm going to go with Buehler as my dark horse here, but probably fourth or fifth in that.
Yeah, Shane Bieber is currently plus 330 to win the AL Cy Young, tied with Garrett Cole for top of the odds.
Okay. So I went with a homer pick there, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to say I kind of dropped the ball in putting these odds up, but
you sure did. I forgot you was even going to do that.
Man, AL is so tough for me because I could give it to like 5 different guys. I'll name 2 that could really stick out and kind of just make a splash. I think Garrett Cole obviously is kind of the obvious one for me, but one I want to say could go under the radar because he's added another pitch this offseason, which is what he needs. And if he can just stay healthy, his ceiling is through the roof, and that's Tyler Glass now. He's at plus 1,100 odds over on my bookie. I also like Giolito at plus 500 as well. Those are probably the AL ones that are sticking out to me. And some of the NL ones that are sticking out are, DeGrom's obviously the favorite. I think he even gets a boost because he's always had such a terrible time with his offense, not giving him any run support. And I think that could change some things this year. So it's kind of hard not to lean that direction. But if I'm going dark horse, I think Darvish at plus 1,200 is good value. Luis Castillo at plus 1,500. I know it sounds like I'm being a homer, but I really think he's going to make a pretty big impact this year for the Reds if he can actually stay there the whole year. And then, past him, there's not really much else that I love. So it's DeGrom, it's Castillo, it's Darvish in the NL. And for the AL, it's Giolito, Cole, or Glass now.
Definitely good points made there.
Let me ask a quick question here, Matt. Jesse, do you think has there ever been a player be traded mid-season and still win the Cy Young? Do you all know?
I would imagine so if they stayed in the same league, but if they go opposite leagues, obviously not.
Right.
I don't know why, but I really want to say no.
Because I think Luis will have a great year this year, but I'm trying to not be a homer.
As everybody else is telling theirs, I'm going to look it up for you.
Because, Luis is going to be our ace. We know that. And even what he did last year, he was great. He was even in talks in it. But if we were to be bad and we ended up trading him, because we even tried to trade him during the offseason. I won't say try, but
there's been Cy Young Award winners traded during the offseason after they've won. I haven't seen one trade during the season and then win. Yeah, that would be the ultimate backfire. Just like, oh, we're gonna just trade you. We're just gonna trade you, pitcher. You're not gonna do anything. Proceeds to win Cy Young. That would be like a ultimate backfire there. But
in our case,
actually,
so Luis
all right, hold on.
That's why he got traded for.
I'm seeing this right here. It says the closest anyone has ever come was Rick Sutcliffe in 1984 when. But this person asked if anybody had won MVP. So they said he was traded from the Cleveland Indians on June 14th after he went 4-5 with a 5.15 ERA, and he made 20 starts with the Cubs and went 16-1 with the 2.69 ERA and won the NL Cy Young. So,
well, there we go.
Who was that? Did you just?
That would be
Sutcliffe,
Rick
right?
Sutcliffe.
Greg Maddux won it back-to-back years with 2 different teams. He's the only one that has come close to pulling that off. There's a list of people that have come close, but nobody has either traded or switched teams and won it.
Yeah,
So
same season.
weirdly, I didn't think I was gonna have a strong opinion on the Cy Young, but honestly, there's two players I'm rooting for, and as much as I hate the Yankees, Garrett Cole, I really hope that he goes out and just fucking balls out, and I hope he wins it. In the NL, I'm going for Blake Snell. I think he has a great line. I think he has a great lineup. I think he has opportunity to get a lot of wins. I think if he performs to what he needs to, he can hold his own, and I think he'll be a really good addition. So therefore, I'm actually rooting for Garrett Cole. I'm rooting for Blake Snell. I think Blake Snell could have a good season.
Yeah, Snell's at plus 2,000, so that's not. I mean, that's not terrible.
I think he could have a good season, man. A good lineup, dude. It's a great lineup to a pitcher. It's fucking golden. So therefore, you got Garrett Cole and Blake Snell. I'm telling you, man, it's a high probability.
He's on the top. He's in the top 10 on the odds. So,
Well, Skur, I know that you are going to go. So what is it? Let me hear it.
All right. Well, my AL Cy Young Award winner, this is a no-brainer. Give me Garrett Moneyman Cole. I think Garrett Cole is going to win the AL Cy Young Award with ease. I feel like the Yankees are going to be the best team in the American League, and Garrett Cole is going to be the best pitcher in the American League. In the NL, there are definitely a lot of options to choose from, but for the NL Cy Young Award, I believe it's going to go to Jacob deGrom. As much as I would love for it to be Walker Buehler, as much as I'd love to see Walker Buehler win the Cy Young Award, I just don't think he's because the thing about the Cy Young Award winner is you got to be the top pitcher in the pitching staff. Garrett Cole's the guy on the Yankees. That's why he's probably going to win the Cy Young Award. Walker Buehler isn't really considered the guy like with the Dodgers. Like you would still have Kershaw. You could still probably trust Bauer more. Granted, Buehler's phenomenal. He's not there yet. I think in 2 to 3 years he could be the guy. But I think as of right now, I got to go with deGrom in the NL just because he's the man on the Mets. He's going to be the guy where the season's on the line for the Mets. You're going to throw deGrom out on the mound, and he's going to try to win you games. So for my AL, NL, Cy Youngs, I got the New York-based teams. I got Garrett Cole with the Yankees and Jacob deGrom with the Mets.
Jesse kind of stole my thunder on it. I like Giolito to win it for the White Sox, off the White Sox for the AL, and I like Yu Darvish to win it with the Padres. He's going to be the number one pitcher in that rotation. The Padres are going to be dangerous. He's going to have the wins stacked up. He's going to have the run support, and I say it half joking just because I like to poke fun at Michael about Trevor Bauer, but in all honesty, it was 1A and 1B last year between Bauer and Darvish. I think out of the 9 statistical categories they look at, if you take out wins, that leaves 8, and Darvish was ahead in 5 of them. So the argument could have been made that Darvish should have got the award ahead of Bauer. Bauer had more wins, more presence, so I think that's what got him the Cy Young Award. But I looked at Darvish to come in strong this year.
Well, I'm sticking Homer and going with Garrett Cole, but I feel like that's the obvious one. You know, the Yankees are going to have the Cy Young and the MVP, so it's going to be a great time for me. But
oh my goodness,
the NL is where I'm going super dark horse, and I mentioned him before, and you know I kind of wanted to go with Blake Snell or Darvish, but you know I don't want to be too typical. So my very dark horse is going to be Jack Flaherty. You know, he's going to be, you know, obviously that number one pitcher for the Cardinals. I think if they're going to end up winning their division, he's going to have to obviously carry them and go out there and be an absolute animal each and every start. And I think he absolutely has the chances to do that. He's been solid the past couple of years. I think he's only going to get better. So I'm going to go with Flaherty to win the NL Cy Young. You know, keep it a little spicy. You know, maybe an under 2 ERA. You know, 15 wins, something in that range. So
He's 7th in odds for my bookie, FYI.
Yep.
You know what? I'm seriously surprised. I didn't even think he'd be in the top 10. I really didn't. I didn't know that people were that high on him. But that's still not bad. What are the odds on that?
Plus 1,300.
What was Lance Lynn?
He was,
Honestly, I feel bad for Jake DeGrom. The reason I hate
Lance
the
Lynn's plus
situation-
1,600.
yep.
The reason I hate
He's
DeGrom,
only 300 more than Flaherty. Oh my god!
the reason I hate DeGrom's situation is because as great as he is, and he's a monster, they have nothing behind him. Like that pitching
They have
staff.
a great lineup now.
He has to be honestly. DeGrom has to be an absolute Cy Young candidate and be flawless to make the Mets really.
I mean, he's done it
formidable,
twice.
dude. I mean, he's done it twice, and he's got a better lineup. I just feel bad for the guy. I swear, I wish DeGrom would go to a better team. That dude is so fucking just agile. I literally wish he was on a better team. I feel bad for him sometimes.
Mets are coming up.
But-
He'll have his day.
Well, you know what? We're going to talk about better teams right now. Michael, did you want to?
I was just going to say, I'm looking at our notes here, our next topic coming up. And Connie, I don't know if you've looked at it in a little bit, but I noticed you made an error there. But
Oh, no. Me and Garrett have been going back and forth switching it.
okay.
I was wondering if you knew it was me or not.
I would have
today.
assumed nothing less.
Yes, but it's who's going to win the World Series and why is it not the Yankees is what it did say. But I changed it to the Reds, but now it says Yankees again. Garrett, I can only assume that you had the Cubs on there too, huh?
No, I put why is it the Cubs, and then
Oh,
I
Johnny
switched it
put
to
why
Yankees,
is it the Yankees,
and then he
so
put
I
it to
switched it to
not.
why is it not the Yankees.
okay.
Well, you know what?
Well, let's go. I want to do it this way, if you don't mind, Connie, and I'll let you
Go
go
ahead.
first. Is not only who do you think is going to win the World Series, but who are they going to face? I want to hear you both top teams in NL, AL, and who's your winner.
All right, listen. I don't care. Call me Homer Boy. I'm going Yankees to make the World Series at least. This is the best opportunity they've had, in all seriousness, because the Astros are kind of on a downside. Not that they're going to be bad, but they obviously not having Verlander, losing Springer. I think that the Cubs are good. Not the Cubs. The White Sox are going to be good, but I don't think that they're going to be able to compete. They're going to get Severino back, who obviously missed last season with the Tommy John surgery. They'll get him back around the All-Star break, so you'll have the nice 1 and 2 with Garrett Cole and Severino. So I'll go with them in the AL, and I'm literally saying this only because I've prayed for it the last 4 years, because a kid that I went to high school with, who I was really good friends with, is also a Dodgers fan. I need a Yankee-Dodger World Series like SpongeBob needed water in that one episode. I think it would be so very entertaining for baseball. I think it'd be entertaining, not only for baseball fans, but for people, kind of around the country. You would have your two main markets, your two, well-known teams battling it out for the World Series. You'd have a lot of star power. I mean, you'd have Cole, you'd have Bueller, Bauer, Kershaw, Bellinger, Judge, DJ, Mook. I mean, you're going to have so many stars in that World Series, and obviously I want the Yankees to win, so I'm going to pick them. But if anything, I really just want a Yankee-Dodger World Series. I've been saying it for the past 5 years because I think it'll be entertaining, and it just hasn't worked out yet. But I'm hoping that this is the year.
All right, Dustin, let's go ahead and hear yours.
I agree with Connie. I would actually love to see a Yankee and Dodger World Series. So hopefully none of these teams that are dark horses interrupt their chances. I mean, it is what it is. And the MLB playoffs, man, it's so hard to win. And I think it's probably one of the hardest sports to win series in. Dude, if the Yankees and Dodgers happen, that would be a fucking dream. I'd literally watch the shit out of that World Series every game. But I think the Yankees, I agree with Connie again, that this is their best year. If they're going to make the World Series and win it, this is their year. They should take advantage. It's prime, dude. The Dodgers, I think, are going to make it either way. So I don't see anybody in the NL holding the Dodgers. I think they're going to make it. I don't see too many teams holding the Yankees. So therefore, I actually agree with Connie. I think that the World Series is probably going to end up being the Yankees and the Dodgers, and it was going to be an amazing time and a great thing to watch. So I agree.
The best part of a Yankees Dodgers World Series would be those maps that they make for like Super Bowls and whatnot, where it shows like what part of the country is cheering for who, and you'd have like a circle in California around Los Angeles that's Dodger blue, and a circle around New York that is Yankee black, and then you'd have the rest of the country red labeled "Don't give a fuck." But for my picks, I'm gonna go White Sox, Padres, and Padres in 7. I like the Padres to upset the Dodgers.
Jesus.
They are clearly the number. They are clearly one of the best teams in the National League this year.
They're
I like them to upset the Dodgers in the playoffs.
They're not.
And then I like the White Sox. I think they're just gonna be hot this year. They're hungry. They're young.
White Sox aren't beating the Yankees, man. I'm sorry.
We'll see.
Just pick.
Let's go.
All right, Cheese, let's hear your side.
I got Dodgers, Yankees, Dodgers in 7. I feel like it's going to be – I think everybody wants it. New York versus L.A. We were robbed of it in 2017. It's time for it in 2021. Dodgers, Yankees, Dodgers in 7. I feel like it's only right for it to happen.
Imagine a Garrett Cole Walker Buehler Game 7. Oh, sorry, Jesse.
All right, Jesse, let's actually hear someone. It's not going to be any kind of homers on this.
It's honestly, it's hard to get away from this World Series that everybody's been predicting. It really is. The AL is just not strong this year. I could see Houston or maybe the White Sox or Toronto kind of making noise, but it's only if they like pick up a key pitcher at the trade deadline or something to really boost them. So, I mean, you can't really predict that, but you kind of have to predict the fact that somebody's going to be making some moves at some point. So, if anybody can do it against the Yankees, it's probably those 3 teams making a move at the deadline to kind of taking them over the top. But as it stands now, it's really hard to get away from the popular pick.
So who you got winning?
Oh, Dodgers.
Yeah. Dodgers. Okay, I am going to be like Garrett and go away from these 2 teams. The Yankees, the last time they've been in the World Series, I don't even think Connie was born.
It was 2009.
So, okay.
You were born in 2009?
Yeah, I was 14 when that happened, by the way.
I was 9.
Oh.
9.
Shit.
Okay. So,
okay.
I'm going to go with the White Sox and the Braves is my picks, and I have the Braves winning it.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, that's funny. The Braves are going to choke beforehand. Come on, Michael. It's an Atlanta sports squad.
Hey, again, it's my picks. It's who I did.
I respect Michael, though, because he's been on the Braves.
The only thing that would have the same way.
I like him, too.
They aren't
the
bad
only thing
picks.
that would have been more Michael is if you went a Braves Blue Jays World Series. I would have been
really
so
about
proud, Michael, I would have been so proud of you.
Well, here's the reason why I didn't, though, on that, because the Blue Jays, I don't think have a better shot against Yankees in a matchup. I just feel like it's bats for bats. It's going to go Yankees. But the White Sox, I just feel like there's a chance that they can put out the Yankees. So that's really my only reason. Well, I mean, if you know everything in the world, then I guess we're all wrong. But I'm going to go with the White Sox in this game. Just because I don't want to be like everyone else. I mean, if we were betting, it would be stupid to pick the Dodgers.
Well, are we talking picks or are we talking gambling? Because those are 2 very different.
Oh, yeah. Well, if it was gambling, it's a whole different story. But
right.
Yeah.
We can save that for a later date.
Right. But that's just me. I feel like it's going to be the White Sox and Braves, and it's Braves' year. And I've said it quite a bit.
Well, you know what, Michael? I want to get to this last segment because I'm very excited for this one. I threw this segment in, kind of last minute because, I think it's always fun, to do something like this. So we're just going to go around. We'll start with Michael. We'll do the typical circle thing. I want one hot take for the season maybe 1 or 2 sentences on why it's going to happen. Do this nice and quick, and we can get on out of here. But Michael, what is your hot take? The 2021 MLB season.
My homer hot take is the Reds are going to win the division, and Moose is going to be in the run for the MVP this year.
Wow.
Also going to be possibly in the race for home runs later in the year.
Wow. That's hard to follow up.
It's a hot take.
It sure is. Everybody's probably gonna think I'm crazy. I don't know who the hell it is. It's gonna be one of the top 3 guys, but one of the Marlins starting pitchers is finishing in the top 5 of the Cy Young. They had a really good pitching staff. I think it gets slept on so much, and I think one of them's gonna break out and have a magical year. So that's gonna be my bold call for the NL. For the AL, I mean, I don't know. Vlad, I feel like I already picked Vlad to win the NL MVP, or AL MVP. So what? Like he leads the majors in homers or something? Is that bold enough?
It's up there.
I like it.
That's what I got.
My hot take of the season: the St. Louis Cardinals will make it to the National League Championship Series.
Oh, come on.
Hey, doubted it in 2019.
Dude, they aren't even going to break
They made
80
the
wins.
NLCS.
Come on.
Hey, don't sleep on the Cardinals, man. Got the best third baseman, Arenado. Paul Goldschmidt could have a resurrection.
Cheese over there pulling out the spicy queso.
Hey, you said a hot take. That's a hot take.
Right, that's
Cardinals
hot.
making
I
it
mean,
to the
that's a hot
NLCS. And if it happens, I want full credit on the
It'll be
backstop banner when it
shout
happens.
out Alex.
I better see
We'll
a
put in the
sticky
Rolodex.
note, and I better see a bow down. Matt, I cannot believe you got this right on March 25th, 2021.
I think we might have to get Garrett to come on the show and say, Matt, I'm
No,
sorry.
I will come
on
on and apologize.
I want Garrett
Do I
to
see a
say-
TikTok video coming?
No TikTok
in a
video.
St. Louis jersey.
Just Garrett saying, Matt.
Somebody's
I'm
going to have to
sorry.
ship me a jersey if they want to. I will not send money to that trash city.
All right, Garrett, let's hear yours.
All right, hot take. And I'm obviously going hot. I apologize, Wise Cheese. I couldn't help myself. That was like 100% genuine, not planned. As soon as you said that, I lost it. But we're going to go Adbert Alzolay and Willie Contreras have breakout years. Cubs make a move at the deadline and go over 90 wins.
I'll say that's a lukewarm.
Not like, dude, they're currently ranked 4th in division. Everybody's calling it a rebuild year.
I was
and
expecting a Javi Baez NL MVP call or something
It's
like
got
that.
it's got some sizzle.
I already put
Carlos.
Contreras in it for the NL MVP, so I didn't want to just repeat that.
Okay.
I respect you, Garrett. I do. Dustin, what's the hot take of the year?
I don't even know if it's a hot take. I've
Well, it has to be for this segment, Dustin.
It's hot takes.
It can't just be a take. It's going to be hot.
Yeah, you
It
gotta say
can't be
something
like,
about your
it can't
Indians
be like
to be a
20
hot
second
take.
in
But
the
anyway,
microwave.
The NL MVP is going to be. I said his name wrong the entire show, and I'm glad y'all have educated me. Tatis is going to be the NL MVP.
That's a cold pizza take.
Well, fuck you.
There's your hot take. There it is, boys. There's the hot take. Thank you all for tuning in to Backstop Banner. Please check out all our sponsors.
I absolutely believe that Blake Snell can win the Cy Young. No,
I'll take that one over Tatis. I will.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna make.
And the Yankees. Hold up, you didn't even let me finish. First of all, you don't let me finish. I think the Yankees are going to. I think the Yankees in the playoffs and dominating form are going to almost walk to the World Series. So therefore,
They're the second leading favorite, dude. This is a hot take.
walk.
It's supposed to be a hot take.
No, walk.
Hot take would be the White Sox are going to
Hey,
walk to the
listen, it
World
can be a
Series.
hot take. The Yankees
White
haven't
Sox
made
ain't
the World
walking no
Series
damn
since
World
09.
Series. So you were like,
Well,
you
that's
asked me
why
to-
it would be
That's
a
why it's a
hot
hot
take.
take. All right, guys.
That's
Here's
a
my new
stupid
hot take.
Here's
You
Dodgers,
gotta have a hot take
World
level like
Series.
mine, saying the Cardinals in the NLCS.
a hot take makes other members of the panel start laughing.
My hot take,
true.
nah,
I'm not
okay.
capable of that. I don't.
I'm gonna do 2 hot takes because I want to make Michael mad. My first hot take is that Judge and Stanton, I think they've played in a combined like 40 games over the past 2 years together. This year, it'll be like 130. They're both staying healthy the entire season, so they're going to play together quite often. But my other hot take, now that I said that one, I lost the other one. Give me a second here.
Was that the one that's supposed to make me mad?
Yes, it was because of, Judge and Stanton staying together annoys you.
I will say at least this: they have changed their workout style. I think Jesse.
I know they're
actually
big into
talked about
yoga
this.
now. Big
Yeah,
into
I think-
yoga.
And so, I mean, I feel like that is actually going to help them. So I'm with you on there. I'm not mad, but I'm Luke mad.
I will throw out a hot take while Anthony tries to remember his
I know
thoughts
I'm
here.
really struggling right now, so please do.
Yankees get bounced in the division round.
Well, that's not. That's
They win, Yankees win 100 games
See?
and get bounced
you
in the
laughed.
division
Hot take.
round. There's a hot
Hey.
take for you.
Garrett, in 4 games.
In
Four
four games.
games.
Yeah, screw it. Throw
Well,
the 4 games on there, too. We're
I'm
going
pretty sure
all
the
in.
divisional round is only a 5-game series, by the way.
I know,
so it'd be kinda
I know,
hard.
I know it is. You
Oh,
lose the
you mean
series
Losing 4
3-1.
games.
Oh,
3-1.
Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna stick to my Judge and Stanton one because I literally cannot think of it right now. I had it the entire show until I said the Judge and Stanton one. But you know what? If it comes back to me, tune in. Everybody's going to tune into Backstop Banter all the time anyway. So
Right.
if it comes back to me, I will make sure that everybody knows it. But we've kept
it down
everybody
next time.
along. We've kept everybody here for a very long time. So we'll end it here. Obviously, got to shout out the sponsors one more time before we go into the shout outs. But we were talking about it all show. If
Hey,
you are
first
into
of
the
all-
betting world, what was that?
Hey, people, honestly, I was actually trying to be smart during this show, but you asked me to piss people off. Look, Michael Dawson, the Reds are going to fucking suck. And second of all,
Well,
they're
it's
going
an
to fucking
L,
suck.
not a D,
And
but-
they're going to be
gonna
third
say
in
that.
your, they're going to be third in your fucking division. And
Listen, Michael
bro,
Dawson, you just calm down over there, okay? But
The
Ladies and
Reds are
gentlemen,
going to
this has
fucking
been
suck and they're
Backstop.
second place in Ohio.
Dustin, I'm going to mute you in 2 seconds.
Yeah. Can we
But,
just go see the Red Solo Cup?
There's a
Man,
lot in
Dustin
the solo
said
cup.
second place in Ohio. I'm dead.
Second place in Ohio. Y'all trash. Y'all trash.
We-
Y'all ain't shit. Pete
Hey,
Rose was your claim to
Put the
fame,
no,
dog.
no. If you want to go hot
That's
take,
it.
put the Buckeyes baseball program and then the Reds.
Jesse's going to
Buckeyes
have
have
a
a
brain
baseball
aneurysm
program?
pretty
Buckeyes are
soon.
better than the
So.
Reds.
Oh, God.
Okay, that would be
All
a
right.
hot take. That would be a hot
Listen,
take.
Buckeyes are better than the
listen,
Reds.
people.
You
Calm
want me to do the
down.
ad reads, Connie?
No, I got it.
No, I took it personal that we had to talk shit, and all of a sudden I was trying to be smart. And now I got to
Well,
talk
you know
shit.
what?
So we talking shit
Being
now.
smart's not for everybody. I'll say that.
Hell
Anyway,
no. Reds suck.
if you are into the betting
We
world,
do.
make sure you go over to MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Use code USA100 to double your first deposit up to $1,000. We've been talking about it all day look at that. Christian, just in time for the end of the show. As we've been saying it here all day, if you want to bet, MyBookie does it correct. So go over there, USN 100 doubles your first deposit. If you take a screenshot of that deposit, you get entered into our signed jersey giveaway. While you got to fight with me at Cheesecake, shout out everybody that actually gets that reference. But make sure you go over to MyBookie, like I said. Next up, RxHemp, RxHemp-USN saves you 10% on your entire order. Make sure you go check them out. If you're just a little sore from life, make sure you go get some CBD cream, make you feel brand new when you wake up in the morning.
Michael thinking the Reds are going to finish their division in first. So if y'all think that,
Or
your hand.
when you fall up the stairs. But of course, then head over to the Teespring shop, teespring.com/stores/unwrapped. Make sure you go check it out. Unwrapped has its merch. Backstop Banter has its merch, and we're actually doing a promo. We are, I hate you, Christian. The Avengers Justice League of Baseball. You know what? That's fine with me, actually. That's A-okay. But yeah, get over to the store. If you want to buy some Backstop Banter merch, you can use code Dugout for 10% off. You can use code Home Run for 25% off. You just have to get to a different payment threshold in order to use the Dugout and the Home Run codes. So make sure you go and check that out as well. And then finally, the Patreon, patreon.com/unwrapped sports, I believe it is, or unwrapped. I think it's unwrapped sports. $1, you are supporting the team, letting us know that you enjoy what we are doing. $5, you then get entered into a gift card giveaway. You get 10% off the store I was just talking about. And you also get access to our Discord chat where you're like an honorary member of the Unwrapped family. And then finally, the $10 a month section, you get everything I just said, except the 10% discount goes to $20, and you get entered into the signed memorabilia giveaway each month. Last month we did Keenan Allen. This month we are doing David Montgomery. Next month it could be whatever we pick. So make sure you go and check it out. It's always authenticated. It is always good. Now we'll do the shout outs. Dustin, we'll start with you and go counterclockwise. What do you got for everybody before we go?
Yo, look, as much as shit as I talk to a lot of these dudes, they're all good as fuck. Michael, I know you like the Reds. You're mistaken, but it's great. Connie, I hate the Yankees, but I love you. But USN is awesome. This is the fucking best group you could ever listen to. This is awesome. Please tune in every time. I love it. I enjoyed it. Let's get it.
All right, and I am Garrett from Iowa. You can find me on www.unwrappedsports.com with the articles, and on Twitter and TikTok at Garrett from Iowa. And please check out the People's XFL show for all your XFL indoor football FCF talk weekly every Wednesday night at 9 Eastern, 8 Central. And hey, it's been a great time, gentlemen. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my Twitter handle down below at Matt_Skura, Instagram at Matt_Skura20. Check out my podcast that me and my great friend Caleb Conant do. It's called MCS Real Sports Podcast. We talk all things sports related. We've done 50 episodes. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, you name it. We're available everywhere. So make sure you guys check that out. And I appreciate being able to get on a Backstop Banner to talk all things baseball. And I'm pretty sure I got the hottest take on the planet throughout this panel.
And thank you to everybody that hung out for this whole fucking thing, because you got like 2 hours and 15 minutes of great baseball talk and then a half hour of off the rails. So thanks y'all for hanging out.
Go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah, I'll close it out. You can find me at jcrockett24 over on Twitter. Like I mentioned at the beginning, make sure you're looking out for my new fantasy baseball podcast, releasing the name, logo, and details on that this weekend. So pretty excited about that right before opening day. Gosh, we're only a week away. So pretty exciting stuff. Make sure you're looking out for me on there, and make sure you guys are continuing to tune into this show every Thursday as well. I will shoot it over to Mr. Lawson.
As you can see, my name is Michael Lawson, MD Lawson00. Follow me on all Instagrams. That's Twitter, Instagram, all social medias, Instagram. Also, check us out on Sportsme, as Dustin talked about earlier. It's MD Lawson00. At the end of the name, it's USN. You can search that in the search bar and find every one of us that are associated with the organization. Again, as we've all said so many times, 10:30 roughly p.m. on Thursday nights is when our Backstop Banter show is. And my co-host over here to this side, wherever we want to say, is Connie. We do a great job on that, obviously, as you can tell. But also this Saturday, I'll be co-hosting the Count the Bucket. I've been co-hosting on there, just filling in a little bit with Count the Bucket with Amber, who is actually, I think, on vacation. She did her ladies' first show, so who knows? But Nick, I think, is going to be on with me, either Nick or CJ. I have to double check with that and see which one's going to come on. But we're just going to talk all NBA, the trades that's happened today. Also do a little March Madness preview and recap as well on the same time. So that's going to be probably around 10 o'clock as well.
Hey, Jesse, do I see an Ohio State flag behind you, dude?
Of course.
Where
My
have you been?
motherfucking dude, I'll tell you what, dude. You already know what it is. You already know what it is. Fuck the
Holy
Wolverines.
shit! I
You
just
already
knocked
know
my
what it
camera.
is.
Michael, hurry up. I
Well,
got
sign off.
it.
Sign off.
I'm done.
You
I'm
know
done.
what it
All right.
is.
Listen.
Hope you all
Listen.
like the
Go ahead.
view of my hardwood floors.
Listen, as for me,
Woo!
I'm very busy. Mondays, 7
You ain't
Eastern
busy,
generational.
Connie,
I'm
shut
very busy. I'm very busy.
Connie A.
Um,
Smith.
I tried
Yeah.
to fist bump you, Michael, but my camera's on the floor.
Listen, Mondays, 7 Eastern, I do generational sports with Josh Linares. Always a good time talking about everything over there. I will continuously plug our Trey Wingo interview, as Michael always makes fun of me for, as somebody is dying or it's a chicken. I don't know which one it is. Make sure you go check that out. That is 7 Eastern. Tuesdays, I do the hard count. You guys are the worst.
Thank you.
Hey,
Everyone have a good
hey,
day.
I think
Everybody's
Trey,
trying to find you, Connie.
Yeah,
Get out of
just
here.
follow me. All right, just follow me. All right, everybody.
I
it
think
was a
Trey
good
Wingo is
time.
Connie's new dad. Is
It
no
was a
longer
good
Brady.
time. I'll see everybody next week or whenever the hell you actually
Hey, bro,
decide to
do you-
watch
do
the
you-
show again.